It's been too long. Hey, what's up? After what seems to be an infinite length of time, but is in actuality only 8 days, 7 if you watched last night's stream, because I stream video games too, you know, we are back. Hello, my friends. Fancy haircut? I don't have a hair. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm out of the shower. I have a fucking wet ponytail because I don't own a hairdryer. What do you want from me? Hello! How the fuck are you doing? How are we all doing? We've got so much to talk about today, my friends. It's actually fucking wild. Well, I suppose being away means you're gonna, have your content stores filled up, but it was more than I even expected to be able to talk about. Folks, how you doing? Tell me, share with me your stories in chat. I'm reading chat right now. Look, I can see. I'm right here on your screen. Do you see? Look at that. I'm following everything you're saying. How you doing? Tell me. Share your stories with me. Happy birthday, Ashmo. How were your holidays? I had a good time. I went down to Sacramento. I went down to Los Angeles. I met my partner's family. I met my family. And then I met a very old friend. I had a lot of stuff going on. How are you guys doing? My parents didn't buy me any girl clothes. I'm going to assume you're a girl, and that's why that's relevant to you. Because if you were a boy, that would probably not be noteworthy. I'm sorry, comrade. Did you meet Jesse Lee Peterson again? No, I am afraid I did not. And I promise not to disappoint you a second time, okay? Next Christmas, we're going down. We're spending the holidays with JLP. There's no other way, okay? Holy shit! Paul Resendez with the unbelievably generous $75. Holy shit, my dude. You are blowing it the fuck out right at the beginning of the stream. I forgot to ask, can you debunk Dr. Edward Dutton as part of your new content? He's basically a race realist and a more charismatic and British version of JF and alt hype. I hate British people. Yes, I would love to. Can you do me a favor, though, to remind me and email me that name? It's foshvideo@gmail.com, and I'll give it a look. I am, after all, getting increasingly close to maybe potentially eventually getting around to doing my race realism stream. Now, I had a bit of a realization the other day, folks. You guys know Sean's video on the bell curve? I'm sure you all saw it. I know you're all good BreadTube viewers. Well, unfortunately, I came to a bit of a realization after seeing the fallout from that video, because alt-hype, desperate to maintain attention and, notoriety, released 3 videos quickly in response to the bell curve video. And Sean, they were all pathetic. They were truly unimpressive. They were weak. They misattributed points. It was just shit. It was just shit video making. He released 3 of them in quick succession, desperate to get in on this, discussion. And then when he noticed his videos weren't getting enough traction, he had them sort of cut together and re-released by Black Pigeon Speaks, another Nazi who has a slightly larger following. Yeah, these were some limp dick videos, They were not standing proud. And what this has reminded me of is that alt-hype is more than anything else desperate for attention. And at this point, I now have a much larger following than him, just based on viewer count, Obviously, his channel's been around for several times longer than mine has, so he has slightly more subs, I believe. But in terms of actual exposure, I, wildly outpace him. Which made me think, why even do an alt-hype stream? Why not just do a race realism stream? Why not just do all the points I was going to respond but never make mention of him? Why give him the attention? That's why he does these videos, after all. The video he did on me, the 2-hour and 40-minute video on me, was in response to about 90 seconds of me doing an impromptu debate with some Nazi viewer who came on. He took a 90-second clip and turned it into 2 hours and 40 minutes. And he doesn't want to debate. He's scared of debate. He doesn't like debate because it obfuscates the truth of the matter, i.e. it lets him rattle off his studies and gish gallop. So he doesn't want to debate, and he saw an up-and-coming YouTuber, that's me, and found an excuse to create an enormous glut of content, and then his fan base was instructed to harangue me to respond to him constantly. But it wasn't about the race realism. And if it was, he would have made a better goddamn video than he did. It was about trying to get me in on this broader cycle of content reciprocity. I think I'm not going to do that, actually. So it's no longer the alt hype stream. You can share that with your friends, your family, your dog, your cat. It is now just the race realism stream. Because I've seen alt hype's debates before. He gets blown the fuck out. When he has to actually account for everything that he says in the moment, he gets blown the fuck out. Which is presumably why he doesn't do debates anymore. So it's now just the race realism stream, folks. Same content. I'm just going to be excising a few names. That's all. After all, alt hype is more or less the grand poobah of YouTube race realism. So, you know, any points that I would have made against him would have been equally applicable in a broader discussion of race realism. So Paul Resendez, please give me that email. Oh man, how are we doing, folks? I am so excited for us to talk. You know what? Let's not even waste any time. Today, as a surprise guest, I have for you the one, the only, J.K. Rowling here to debate me. She's right off camera. Hello. I'm J.K. Rowling, and I'm just not a big fan of the transies, as it were. Hello, J.K. Rowling. All right, wait. Fuck, she hung up on me. Okay, can we... No, actually, before we talk about the J.K. Rowling stuff, I know what I want to talk about first. Hold on, folks. This actually, I woke up to this. You know what? You know what makes me happier than anything else in the world? You're free to guess. I'm taking guesses right now. I'm taking guesses right now in chat. It's too late. The thing that makes me happier than anything else in the world is waking up to free content. Okay? That's what I love most. I love waking up to free content, because I woke up this morning to find that I had in fact been canceled. Damn, what are you going to do? If we go on Twitter right now, twitter.org.com, and if we search my name, I'm reasonably sure there's going to be some people who are mad at me. Terrible shit Vosh has done. Cool, so what? Even though there are non-binary people with more grievances about Vosh being non-binary phobic than this recent clip, being taken out of context invalidates all of that. Arguing over whether or not I think a group is queer, canceling Vosh, all of this in the past hour. Look, that's a tweet from me. Gushian, I think, was the one who I think kicked this one off, but I could be completely wrong on that. Yeah, here we go. What's going on with all this non-binary shit takes? Starts to sense a pattern cropping up. You should maybe take a real long, hard look with some serious introspection. There are some other folks too. Lex Than 3, I know, is a particularly egregious example of like the woke-skulled brain-lettedness. But who knows how far this pattern goes back. I'm here. I'm going to set the record straight for you folks, okay? What has Vosh done? What has he done to get canceled this time? What consequences must he face for his impropriety? Well, the answer is none. Let's take a look really quickly at this clip, okay? This is the clip people are mad about. They took a 30-second clip from me playing, get this, Resident Evil 2, the remake, remastered, re-edition. Look, it's me down here, see? Look, it's me! People are treating this like this is new, but I was playing Resident Evil 2 at the time, and since then I've played Resident Evil 4, Dark Souls 3, and both of the expansions to that, Spyro, and half of Dark Souls 2. So this must have been, early November? I'm not entirely sure. Here, look, we can experience this content together, folks. Here, I'm even gonna shoot. And that gets complicated. In a pragmatic sense, like, hold on, I'm ready to get canceled. There are a lot of non-binary people for whom dating them would be, in most senses, functionally indistinguishable from dating a sister. Wait, this is Resident Evil 4? Damn, Resident Evil 4's graphics are fucking sick, dude. Holy shit. This game came out in like 1926, and it still looks good enough that at a glance I could mistake it for Resident Evil 2. Gender person assigned the same thing that they were assigned at birth. You know? So does it make you queer to not? Like, I don't know. Thank you. Spoken like a king. Holy shit, how tired. Okay. I'm going to delete the Garfield so it never shows up again. Okay. Spoken like a king. So what the fuck was I even saying there? Well, what people seem to have interpreted from my statement, very much without my consent, was that I was saying non-binary people weren't queer. I didn't hear that when I went over the clip, though. I think what I was saying, and who knows what I'm saying at any given point in time, I think what I was saying was that being attracted to a non-binary person doesn't necessarily make you queer. I want to go into this really quickly. I must have been very tired back during that stream. Could you hear me slurring my words? That's fucking wild. I think right now Eva Unalove over on Twitch is actually talking about this exact subject. I really like Eva Unalove, the premier non-binary king, queen, monarch of Twitch. Are you ready for a 30-second advert?
To predict the weather could...
Fuck you. While that's running, I'm running my fucking mouth. I don't know how Twitch ads get past my ad blocker, but they can suck my dick. Anyway, really quickly, okay? So a lot of folks are mad about this. I'm here to set the record straight. If you're non-binary, you're a gender or sexual minority. But what I was talking about was that the complexities of attraction towards a person usually extend beyond just their self-professed identity. So I want to state, here, there's Eva. How you doing, Eva? If you all want to go in there and raid their chat, fucking...
People on my stream has been them cursing and then saying, wait, is it okay to curse on your stream?
Right.
No, absolutely.
I quite like Eva. I think Eva is quite nice. Very friendly in DMs as well. A proposal. Let's say, for example, that you're a straight dude, okay? You're a straight-ass dude. You're fucking beefy. You're fucking coated with body hair. You're heterosexual you're heterosexual as fuck. You don't even wipe your ass after you shit. You don't need to touch your asshole. That's fucking homo. Why would you, what you want to put your whole hand up in there? Maybe get your prostate and sort of massage it between your thumb and forefinger too? You're fucking gay? No, I'm fucking het, bro. I don't deal with that shit. That's out of my fucking wheelhouse. And you are going around and you're just laying dick. You're just laying dick, okay? You're just out there, you're just piping household to household, you know? And you're into girls. You like feminine girls, you know? Maybe not even necessarily trad wife types, you know, but you like feminine girls. You like the long hair and the dresses and the makeup and stuff. What are you gonna do, okay? It's very het. And you're going around, you know, you're doing your Tinder hookups, and mid-bone or whatever, like mid-fuck, you're like, you've got about 13 inches to work with, and you're about 7 inches in, you know, and you're having a good ass time, and you say something ascriptively feminine to the person you're speaking. Oh, what a good girl, who knows? And the person you're fucking responds back with, actually, I go by they, them, I'm non-binary. So, the het dude is still attracted to the person they're fucking, even though they're straight. Is their heterosexuality suddenly invalidated? Well, no, of course not. That's ridiculous. I don't think anybody would ever say that. Now, mind you, sexuality is also a matter of identification. So whether if you identify as gay, having sex with one person of the opposite gender doesn't suddenly make you not gay. So sexuality, like gender, is an identity thing. It's not something you can ascribe to others, but you can make some reasonable guesses. So if there's a dude who says that they're straight, but then you catch them for another 3 a.m. romp down at the glory hole where they're going to get fucking double teamed by bears for 6 hours straight until they can't walk and cum is pouring out of both of their holes, you can make a reasonable determination that they're probably maybe considering not being fully straight. You would maybe cite it as evidence. If there was a courtroom case where you would talk maybe about what you think their sexuality might be, you might maybe smidge by, a little pan, maybe. So you can make ascriptions about a person's sexuality. I mean, people lie about their sexuality all the time, or they don't know about their sexuality. I'm not saying you should go around invalidating people's sexuality, like, oh no, actually you're gay, you're straight, you're bi. But again, we make reasonable assumptions. So again, with the super big het dude who doesn't wipe his own ass, and therefore just has shit caked around his ass that's gone gray with time, is this person now queer for enjoying having sex with a non-binary person? I think that's a ridiculous assertion. Eva sends their love. Delightful. I send my love back. I think that's a ridiculous assertion. And why? Because attraction for many people is based in large part, not entirely, but in large part, on one's appearance. This is an uncomfortable truth for a lot of non-binary or trans people. Well, non-binary people are trans, but you know what I mean. For a lot of trans people, because it makes them feel like their identity is being invalidated by other people's attraction towards them. Talk, for example, to a transgender woman who goes on Grindr to hook up with gay dudes. It happens really, really often. Do you think those gay dudes are hooking up with the trans women because they're looking to have sex with a woman? Probably not. And that's knowledge that trans women have when they go into it because they want dick. And, Godspeed to that. Grindr is cringe. I don't disagree. I actually deleted Grindr. It's too bad. Grindr is just a fucking shit dating site or hookup site that must suck, dude. Yeah, it does suck. It does. But we have to recognize that, to a large extent, one's attraction towards a given group, it's not as much, or at least not entirely, an identity thing, so much it is an appearance and behavior thing. I imagine that most straight men, who are straight in all other instances, or if they were to encounter someone who looked very feminine and acted very feminine, but nonetheless identified as a man, their attraction would be largely undeterred. Maybe affected somewhat, but largely undeterred, because appearance is a huge part of attraction. To which I must arrive back at 3 points before we finish this nonsense, which is that A, non-binary people are queer, or gender sexual minorities or whatever. The validity of a person's gender identity isn't determined by who is attracted to them. If you're a trans woman and you find gay guys are going after you, because I suppose you're far along in your transition, or you still come across as comparatively rather masc, at least in their eyes, that doesn't make you any less of a woman. There are masculine women. And for 3, I don't think there's necessarily anything invalidating about being attracted to a person's body if it's associated with characteristics of a gender you don't necessarily identify as. Now, that might be different for a trans person because they've got a lot more going on when it comes to their fucking gender identity. But I've got wide hips. You can look at them. Maybe they don't show because I'm fat or whatever. But I've got maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's not showing off right now. Okay, I've got really wide hips. I mean, I actually have wide hips and a pretty fat ass. Now I can't really throw all this clothing off right there. And again, I'm a little bit on the chubby side. Maybe the stomach coming out kind of gets rid of the hourglass shape. But I've got wide hips, and I've had partners who like the fact that I have wide hips. Having wide hips is a traditionally feminine characteristic, but I am nonetheless a dude. So if a person's attracted to that characteristic of me, even if they're bi and they kind of like that comparatively feminine aspect to my otherwise masculine body, does that make me less of a dude? Of course not. So it's more complicated than a lot of people like to say, and sometimes there can be feelings of invalidation that go along with it, but the idea that sometimes people will find you attractive because of your body pretty much exclusively and without really regard to your identity is not news to any trans woman who has ever hooked up with any fucking gay dude on Grindr. Everyone knows this shit, okay? This is not news. I am not exposing BreadTube to some sort of unparalleled truth. I am not fucking opening the... What's it in the first Indiana Jones movie when all their faces melt off? Everyone fucking knows this, okay? So yeah, my original claim back there, way back at the beginning of this, okay, that being sexually attracted to a non-binary person doesn't necessarily make you queer? Yeah, I take it. Oh, the Ark of the Covenant? Thank you, folks. Sorry, it's been a little while. There you go, okay? That's it. That's the drama. That's the whole drama. People going crazy over here. It's wild. Look, I even found this whole fucking document. Look at this thing. This is Vosh Does Some Bigotry, version 1.2. Look at this. I love this too. Who here has seen, wait, raise your hand if you've seen the tweet. It's the tweet. It's, you did a transphobia. You did a xenophobia. You did a nationalism. You did a no growth. You did a, you know that tweet, right? It's like a legendary tweet, right? You know what I'm talking about? I don't know if I have the link to it, but anyway, that's what this reminds me of. The Vosh Does Some Bigotry. Vosh, he did a transphobia. He did an NB-phobia. He did a transphobia Nazi comic. Some more transphobia. Vosh hates women. Wait, hold on. I need to see some of these. I haven't actually checked any of these out. Hold on. I personally understand how what Vosh said could be interpreted as kind of yikesy, but I also feel like Gushian's tweets were kind of bad faith. Gushian's set up to be like the little fucking Keemstar of BreadTube. I think that Gushian is, in some respects, capable of acting in good faith, but I do think that she jumps on drama a little bit too quickly. But then again, I've done that same thing in the past as well, so who am I to speak of the situation? What do you think about Alex Holoka's suicide and Zoe Quinn in general? I did a video on that. I'm fine with Zoe Quinn. And Alex Holoka killed himself because the chickens came home to roost. He did terrible things and he didn't want to deal with the bad public perception. What are we going on? I know the infab is transphobia screens, and this is the casual NB-phobia we just did. What about this? But it's not a good dog whistle again, because the nose drawing thing would only really work if you were a Nazi. Okay. This one's also pretty fucking funny. It's edgy as shit, but if you don't think that this is funny, you're just wrong. This is like, in terms of like comedic, True! I take back nothing. Hey, listen, whether or not a joke is bigoted doesn't make it funny or not, okay? Jokes can be bigoted and still really fucking funny. The joke here isn't the bigotry. The setup and the punchline are done pretty fucking well. The setup is perfect, right? You have the 40% number with the trans people. Trans people finally get the Infinity Gauntlet, and they snap, and the actual target is directed against them because it's 40% suicide. Get it? I mean, it's transphobic as shit, and it's also inaccurate because it's not a 40% suicide rate. It's like a 40% attempted suicide rate within the past 3 years that gets mitigated heavily through social factors. But the actual setup of the joke is pretty well done, which was the point, by the way, of this video. And hey, have you fucking noticed, by the way? Have you fucking noticed, by the way, that since I did that video on how we need to find ways to imitate the sort of performative cruelty comic style of Stone Toss, that there have been lefty fucking comic makers coming up that all do stuff that pretty much exactly is what I was describing, with the performative cruelty and with the joking, with the being irreverent, and they're growing up really quickly, and all of them follow me on Twitter, Spurgsy, and Breadpains, and several others as well, and Bread Panels. Interesting. People seem to like their content. And they all follow me as well. I wonder, maybe there was a good idea here? We just need to direct that energy not towards trans people? Vosh does transphobia some more. I need to see these. These are important to me. I'm the cool trans. Look at me. I'm the cool tranny. Look at me. Look, my tits are out. I validate all of your biases. I'm the cool trans. Look at me. I'm the cool tranny. Look at me. Look, my tits are out. I validate all of your biases. That's it? I just said the T slur? I'm being Blair White here. So out of context? Yeah, of course. That's why they have to clip 3 seconds of it. Even though Streamable allows you to clip like far longer than that. This is me being Blair White. I think it's a pretty good impression. Hey, hypers, if you think I nailed the Blair White here. I'm the cool trans. Look at me. I'm the cool tranny. Look at me. Look, my tits are out. I validate all of your biases. See? I think I fucking nailed it, actually. Why is Stone Toss's Twitter icon so degenerate? I don't know. He's a Nazi. They've got their own little fucking world going on. Vosh hates women? It's true, I do. Because I'm talking to you. The reason why I'm talking to you is because you, statistically speaking, if you're a femoid, probably a passive-aggressive catty bitch. I'm terribly sorry, folks. It's true. True! That's true. That's fucking true. I'm not giving any context to this one. I'm not giving any context to that one. I'm sorry. I don't need to explain shit. The capricious femoid, okay? You know what else fucking gets me? You know what else? It really bothers me when people shit talk dudes under the guise of feminism. It really fucking bothers me. It really does. That's misogyny? That's all it takes to be labeled misogynist by these delusional fucking brainlets. All you have to do is say you don't like it when men are shit-talked under the guise of feminism. That's it. And all of this is from a stream clip that later got turned into a video about me explaining how the patriarchy and toxic masculinity lead to all of these poor, like, behavioral characteristics from women and from feminists. Dude, these people can't be reasoned with. Vosh being a reactionary. The YouTube video is done, I'm going to reveal my true thoughts. A lot of the people who are trying to cancel ContraPoints are fucking dejected, worthless, mentally ill basement dweller fucking queer people who have absolutely nothing to offer the world apart from their bitter scorn. So they lash out at people more successful to them, and they put all the time in the world into it because the only validation they get is out of performatively canceling people with more social capital. True. When I see fucking 30 tweet threads about how horrible ContraPoints is, it is impossible for me to imagine this person as anything other than a degenerate sucking off of the back of society like a leech. True. It's impossible for me to think of anything else. I know this is fundamentally reactionary thinking, but still, I can't think of anything else. All right, I'd like to take back something I said here. It's not reactionary thinking. There's nothing reactionary about calling out worthless no-lives whose online existence is determined and predicated entirely on their ability to shit-talk people who have done far more for others than they ever could in their entire lives. There's nothing reactionary about that. That's the most true-ass fucking legit shit in the world. I traveled to Tibet. A Sherpa took me up the mountain, and I learned that wisdom from a fucking dragon god who appeared to me from a pattern in the clouds. Okay, I retract nothing. It should be noted, by the way, whoever clipped this definitely felt called out, and they're mad. Calling them degenerates is kind of weird, though. I think they're fucking degenerates. I think it's morally degenerate for you to claim you're a leftist and then step back and all of your content online and all of your presence online is dedicated to undermining actual work being done by leftists who actually try to make the world a better place. I think that's degenerate. If we go as degenerate, meaning morally reprehensible, like it corrupts society, which I think is the broader sort of, prescriptive, what do we mean by when we say degenerate, then yeah, I think that's totally applicable. These woke scolds might accuse you of the same. Well, too bad I never go out of my way to criticize any of these fucking sensitive types till they come after me first. They're always the ones who fire the first shots because my fucking content has its own value. I don't have to rely on other people to make my content worthwhile. I can come on here and spend 4 hours talking positively about how we should do X or how the world could be better if we did Y, and that can be what I do, irrespective of anyone else's behavior. But their content, their online presence, is predicated entirely on their ability to come off and look like they're better than the people who they're criticizing. So, nah, I feel pretty comfortable in my ascriptions here. Oh yeah, Starchy Shift. If all you saw of me with these clips, it would probably make me look pretty bad. But that's the thing. You could do this to literally anyone. Literally anyone. Why are people calling you a chaser now? I have literally no idea. Maybe saying you're attracted to trans people makes you a chaser. If you're sufficiently, if you're edgy enough, that makes you a chaser. So when, like, if you're like Eva Unalove or someone else who's not like unorthodox, then you could say like, oh, my beautiful trans brothers and sisters and envies, and it's super cool and everyone's fine with that. But if I say, hey, some trans ladies are fucking hot, some trans dudes are fucking hot, then that makes me a chaser, I guess. I can only assume. No fucking trans people allowed. Vosh slurs a woman. Christiosity just kind of seems like a fucking cunt, I guess, Big Puncher. I don't know what you want me to say. That's it? I've called people cunts so much more than that. They had to be able to find a better clip of this than that. Holy shit, I've called people cunts like hundreds of times. Cunt isn't a slur? I'd agree. If cunt is a slur, that's a pretty low bar, you know? So basically you admit it was all wrong and you disavow everything? Yes! And to cap it all off, I disavow all this horrible behavior from the seditious YouTuber Vosh, okay? I disavow all of it. It's all deeply reactionary. Should any words be censored? Censored by what? By the government? No. It's perfectly possible, though, to be not like anything you characterize and still deeply dislike ContraPoints and criticize her. I understand that you're in the mind, not strawmanning, because later criticize Contra delivery and language there actually further marginalize people who are marginalized. I don't think I marginalize anyone with my behavior. I'm not saying that how do I marginalize people with my behavior? The only people I shit talk are the people who I call degenerates over there, who are choosing to behave in a certain way. I don't think that I'm marginalizing any group there, except for perhaps the unintelligent, if you want to go that way. What is ContraPoints? They're a smaller YouTuber than me. Don't worry about them. Okay? Don't worry about them. Not even making content anymore, to be honest. Get out of here. Yeah, I have literally never shit-talked any group of people for their identity. Even back during the Thought Slime, like, trans genocide drama or whatever, I never shit-talked trans people for being trans people. I only pointed out that a lot of the people shit-talking me on Twitter were trans, which, hey! Oh, you know, sometimes it hurts to be so right so often. But hey, I mean, that's a descriptive statement. That could even be considered amoral. I'm not making any moral judgments there. I'm merely referring to the factual information. I took data, I took surveys, that a lot of the folks who were shit-talking me were trans. And that, my feed would have looked a lot better if there were no trans people on Earth. That's completely true. It was still cringe. I think a lot of people overstate it. Those Discord messages were nothing. What do you think about the Greta Thunberg memes? I'd love to know, but I can't click on that link because it's off topic, and we're already very off topic. Would you have Gushian on to hash this out if she approached you? Anyone can come on this stream to discuss any issues with me at any time, as long as they have enough YouTube subs. Am I a moral realist? No, I'm not. Not me, though. Comrade Cora, you had fucking argued with me on anything. Not me. Pig Puncher, you don't want to argue with it. These clout chasers. Get them out of here. Do you have any faith in the Indian protests against Modi's fascist government? Nah, not really. All right, can we fucking focus? That's it with the cancel shit, okay? Listen, it's dumb drama. Some people didn't interpret the NB thing appropriately, I think. I never said in the video that you weren't queer if you were NB or something. I think some people interpreted it as me saying that if a straight person is attracted to you, you're no longer non-binary. I have no fucking idea how they got around to that. But yeah, in summary, that was dumb. Everyone trying to cancel me is dumb. And yeah. There. That's my little mini dab. See? That's my little, it's a surfer dab. You see? Woo! See? Look at that. Woo! See? All right, you get it. Yeah, you get it. All right. We go over these fucking donos. This wasn't even what I wanted to cover today. I just woke up and saw that I was canceled. You know? Sometimes that happens. God. My uncle did the micro dab first. Fuck you. Should have patented it then, you stupid piece of shit. All right, hold on. Solarint with the tier 1 sub, welcome back. Also, you shouted out my channel about 6 months ago on stream, and now my channel is growing substantially, so thank you. Fuck yeah, I'm delighted to hear that. That's actually really fucking sweet, comrade. Nice. Hope it continues to go well. Ben Grapples with the $5. Can you talk about Washington Representative Matt Shea and what we do about fascist terrorists like him? I don't know shit about Matt Shea, so I'm afraid I cannot talk about him right now, but I can do research between streams. Apart from that, though, I am woefully ignorant. But I'd have to give it a look. Earthbound, the tier 1 sub, thank you. Hey, Vosh, woke up and watched that video from the 80s of the dude yeeting his son's pedophile karate instructor, and I'm in a great mood. Figure I'd spread some love. Earthbound, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I am delighted by your company here and by the donation. Thank you very, very much. Comrade Cora, I shout you out all the fucking time. I don't know how much content you produce. I never watch anyone else's YouTube videos. Everyone, Comrade Cora did the fucking legendary YouTube poops of Dennis Prager that everyone loves. Go. Go forth! Go. Comrade Courtney with the gifted tier 1 sub to Beware the Purple One. I'm gay. Monka, that's true. Cola Dick with the tier 1 sub. Imagine being so vanilla that you don't get canceled. Honestly, are you even doing politics YouTube if you're not getting canceled? And Comrade Courtney with the additional gifted tier 1 sub. See, I'm the loser with no life, and it took me 3 days just to finish watching the entire alt-hype video. Oh yeah, the alt-hype video was like long and boring. I know that sounds really like lazy, like it was boring, all these facts and figures were boring. Yeah, they were. And it mostly wasn't facts or figures. It was him presenting like a study out of context every 20 minutes and then talking for 20 minutes. I fuck me, dude. Sounds very Sargon. Yeah, I'd love to see Sargon get through that video. Maya with the tier 1 sub. Is J.K. Rowling part of the, Greens? No, we've excommunicated her. Trans people are part of the Hibernian conspiracy. And Tammy with the tier 1 sub. Can't you just uncancel yourself, dumbass? I just did that. Yeah, what's up?
Dude, he got on top of the fridge and he's threatening to jump behind it.
Really?
I'm just so tired of it. Should I just drag him off? I can't get him.
Just wheel a chair over.
Ugh. He's just far back.
Put manacles on him. Chain the boy.
So you're not coming?
Do I have to? Let me get my cat. Jesus fucking Christ. This fucking cat already got up in the curtains. Alright, you need to put like manacles on this boy. Oh, no? Okay. No, I got a screen. Speaking of fucking degenerates, my cat, holy shit, dude. We went to bed at like 1 a.m., sorry. 1 a.m. last night. Ready? For a good night of sleep before stream tomorrow. And our fucking cat did not go to sleep. Didn't go to sleep. I wanted to sleep so badly after the holidays. I set him down in his bed and I drifted off to sleep blissfully while the little kitty cat Artemis starts making biscuits on the bed. And then I woke up at 2:30 a.m. to him being thrown in the cage because he kept zip-zooming around. And then I drift off again, and I awake at 3 a.m. with him doing backflips inside of the cage, making an unbelievably fucking loud racket. And then I get up, drunkenly open up the cage, and then pass out. And then instead of coming out of the cage, he sits in the cage and starts chewing the metal bars of the open gate that I have just opened. And after he does that, I pass out again. And then I wake up after he doesn't go to bed, and I pick him up, and I put him in the bed, and I just push him down. I compress him. And I compress him down, and then I fall asleep again. And at 6 a.m. I wake up to a paw on my mouth as he walks on top of me and just sits on my neck. We need to get him like a cat room or something. I'm putting him in the fucking bathroom. I'm putting him in the fucking bathroom next night. Jesus. You need another cat? Nah, he's a phenomenal boy. He's like a beautiful, perfect boy. God. Is this animal abuse? To have your cat fucking ruin your sleep? No, I don't think it's animal abuse. And then this morning, he jumped on top of the upper cabinets, which are fucking 10 feet off the ground. And then he just got on top of the refrigerator. But apparently Vermin was able to get him down there, so... You mean get another cat to entertain Artemis? We have another cat. We have 2. The other one is our roommates, and they play together all day. All right. Peanut fat shot with the $1. I had to put my puppy down last night. Can I get a rip, little dude? Oh, shit. That's kind of pertinent, isn't it? Rip, Peanut fat shots, dog. Rip, little dude. Marinara with the tier 2 sub. Like your Santa Marks cosplay. Have some milk and cookies? Thank you, comrade. Much appreciated. That's very kind of you. And Trotsky for life with the $5. Nothing like a moral panic on the left to start the new year. That's true, but it's okay. This drama has no meat to it. One of these days I'm going to get angry and I'm going to call like my debate opponent the N-word or something, and then we're going to have a whole new drama wave. But until that day comes, I think I'm actually mostly safe from cancellation. David Culleton with the $5. Saw someone who likes to clip and ship you saying they're watching 20 hours of your content and are making a video essay about you. The bad faith hurts. I would love for any of these people to come on and debate me. Hey, you ever notice how all the woke scoldy types are perfectly content to make tweet threads about me, but they never ever come over and debate me? I don't even want to yell at them or anything. I'll ask them in good faith what their problems are. I think they have nothing. I think their criticisms don't stand up to even the faintest scrutiny outside of like the hug box, you know? But they'll never do it. I really want to do a big woke scold stream where I like invite a bunch of people to come on and talk with me. Everyone, the people who think I'm racist, transphobic, that I'm a chaser, that I'm a fucking misogynist or whatever. I want to bring them all on here. I'm ready. I'm ready for 18 different people in one day to tell me that I don't have a right to speak on trans issues because I'm not trans. I tried that, but they just blocked me. Yeah, exactly, Pig. They know their beliefs can't stand up to scrutiny. And Comrade Courtney, you are such a gifted, or a kind sub-gifter. With the tier 1 sub gifted to Demsox, Vosh in the only shirt he owns, just straight vibing. I've only worn this shirt twice over the past 3 months, you fucking animal. Thank you. And with the gifted tier 1 sub, please no poop talk. All right, duly noted, thank you. Except for all the poop talk I already did. Emery81 with a tier 2 sub, re-subbing for 6 months. Fuck yeah, trans rights. Fuck yeah, trans rights. You know what's going to be great? Pretty soon on my site, I'm going to have 1 year tokens for everyone who's been subscribed for at least 1 year. You know? That'll be nice, right? I'm pretty sure we have that info saved on the site. That'd be pretty cute, I think, to see all my, like, my original fucking memers out there. You know what I'm talking about. And Cola Dick with the gifted tier 1 sub to Dairy Cypher. Thank you very much. True. That's true. That's true. That's true. Hey, you wait. It's going to get worse, comrade. We've got worse cancellations coming down the road. I'll do something. Yeah, exactly, Comrade Cora. I don't know how productive it would be, but God, it would feel good. Half of these vids are literally this. True. Have you guys seen all the drama with T1J? Or what's that guy's name? He's like a black YouTuber, TJ1, the janitor dude. When he made that tweet thread about how lefties need to own up to the responsibility of having created a bunch of class reductionists and tankies. Yeah, the one janitor. Yeah, T1 janitor. T1J. Yeah, okay, gotcha. James Hill with the 549. Every good show gets canceled, Vosh. People done. That's true. I'm like Arrested Development. I'm like, I'm like Simpsons in just 18 more years. And Comrade Courtney with the other gifted 1 sub. Thank you. All women canceled Vosh 2019. That unironically, though. Kathy Songbird with the tier 2 sub. It sucks to see a stream that honestly was such a phenomenal argument for how men's rights are important for intersectional feminism to function be lambasted like this. All people have the capacity to be problematic, and some folks forget that. I agree completely, Kathy. It is frustrating. It feels like there's no argument woke enough that I can make that isn't going to attract the ire and poor attention of those groups, but what are you gonna do? King C1285 with the $5. Here's another $5 for the D&D streams on a YouTube playlist fund. Yes, I need to do that, and I'm sorry for not having done that sooner. I want all of the Theater of Consumption streams together on a YouTube playlist. I ran into some technical difficulties like 2 months ago, and it demoralized me a bunch because I spent like 4 days trying to work on it, and nothing came about from it, and it was really fucking frustrating, and it kind of frustrated me. But I can do it now. I know how to fix that problem. Respond to this woke scold stinkiness. But I can't. I don't want. I'll consider it. Pig, I'll consider it. Hold on, shut up. I'm doing donuts. Comrade Courtney with a gifted sub. PP? That's true. Thanks for keeping the chat orange, comrade. A Jew for you with the $5. Vosh says the N-word sounds like an It's Always Sunny episode. I would be a good character in It's Always Sunny Philadelphia, okay? Or It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I know I would be a good character for it, all right? I know I would. Now, I know every character in that show is a bad person. I'm actually a super good person, but still. Meow Willow with the $2. What happened between you and Patricia Taxon? Mostly personal stuff. Everything good that happened between us was personal, and everything bad happened without me even knowing about it. So there's honestly no drama to talk about. I saw Patricia Taxon's recent tweet chain about how they miss me but don't like me or whatever, and I guess it's nice to be considered, but I just feel she's so misguided. With her opinions towards me. Patricia Taxon is a talented musician who works on YouTube and a former friend of mine. Zanya with the tier 2 sub, caring about labels, about some arbitrary and ephemeral, constantly changing social rules, whether or not we're gay, straight, trans, female, male, etc., is an excellent way to establish ill-fitting social walls and stir up some tasty outrage. That's true. Fuck labels. Get that shit out of here, okay? Out of here. Who gives a fuck about labels? The only labels I care about, gamer, non-gamer, okay? We know this. We know this to be true. Everyone, hey, can I get some truers in chat? Bobby3 with a $1. Have you seen Destiny's stream with the Harvard psychiatrist? Thoughts? Yes, I have. It was an interesting stream, and I like the content of the psychiatrist. I don't know. I've watched Destiny for a decade. All of the conclusions the psychiatrist came to, I came to a while ago. I'm not saying that because I'm like an edgy edgelord who knows everything. I've just watched like thousands of hours of Destiny's content. I thought it was interesting though. Soviet Main has been banned. Oh no, Soviet Main is back. Oh no. Counterpoints with the $5. Your time, 7 p.m. tonight, tomorrow. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4 p.m. onwards. Got to get the wife back up for kiddo. Up to you before 2020. Ah, shit. You're not up for any fucking morning streams when I do my proper streams? How about counterpoints a little bit further into 2020? I think an ACAB stream deserves a proper morning bracket with 2K viewers rather than 500 viewers for a nighttime video game stream. Early 2020, maybe? Does that work? I don't know what your actual schedule is, but we'll get something to work. Tomorrow? Does tomorrow work for you, Counterpoint? Sometime between 11 and 3? Cup of Depresso with the gift. Oh, gifted tier 1 sub from Comrade Courtney. You should look into Joshua for Congress. He's a socialist truck driver on TikTok. Trust me, I know about Joshua. I go on Chapo Trap House. It was impossible for me to avoid information about this person, you know? Nicholas Pogson with the $5. Thinking of starting a history YouTube channel. Any advice? Thinking about starting with right-wing misconceptions about Greece and Rome. No advice, really. Make content that you think other people would be willing to pay for, and then do it so well in a niche that nobody else fills. That's really all there is to do it. Everything else is luck and marketing and networking, you know? Which I can't really help with. I don't ever really do much networking. I just benefited from my initial relationship with Destiny. Good luck. Rivera Life with the tier 4 sub, the Yellow Man. Or woman, or NB, I don't know. Need to stay yellow till I get blue. I'd still donate. I'd like to talk sometime about the rhetorical mistake the entire left makes by focusing exclusively on the potential tit-for-tat problem of money in politics, when money buys influence without it. Yes. Yes, I think I agree. I think that reducing the problem with like political corruption down to campaign finance reform is a little bit reductive. There are broader political elements, broader social elements that allows wealth to corrupt the political process even outside the purview of just like campaign donations. Yeah, I completely agree with that. I don't know if I'll be able to talk about it on stream anytime soon because I've got a lot of stuff lined up, but it's definitely in the docket. That is something that I would like to talk about. Can you start at 10 your time? Yeah, Counterpoints, I can. I can start at 10 a.m. tomorrow. 100%. Thank you, Rivera Life. Enjoy the yellow name, huh? Desk Toy with a 750. Hey, Vosh, planning a character creator for my game. Want to make it as inclusive as possible. Anything you'd want to see that hasn't been represented well so far? I'm not the person to ask about that. I don't care about or see. As long as, like, it's not all grizzly white dudes, that's all I care about. But I don't go out of my way thinking, like, oh, disabilities, or, oh, here's this type of skin thing. The little, like, when black people have the white skin patches or whatever. I don't fucking know, you know? You'd have to talk to someone who does, like, work on inclusivity for that. Because it's not something that I think about too often. I appreciate the dono though, and I hope the game goes well. Do you have a take on nuclear energy? Yes, we need it. MX Bish with the $5. Hey, I know you want to get past the drama, but this NB wants to say thanks for being a great ally. Solidarity, my friend. I've been validated. Thank you. And I'll bring you up anytime somebody says I don't get a right to speak in this issue. Thank you. Brad with the 14 Czar. Thoughts on Bad Mouse Productions? I don't like tankies. I don't like tankies. That's what I have to say about Bad Mouse Production. Whether or not Bad Mouse Production is a tanky, I don't know. Who knows? In the ephemeral, ever-changing dreamscape of the world, who knows? He's not a tanky. Some people say he is. Some people say he isn't. I've heard a lot of mixed information. If he is a tanky, he's an anarchist. I've heard a lot of mixed information. Yeah, I think he's used to be an anarchist. Oh wait, Bad Mouse Production is that dipshit who fucking vague tweeted me during the anti-tanky arc. The person who made a bunch of weird passive-aggressive tweets at me that I actually wanted to engage with him in good faith, and he was just like insulting me. And when he realized his insults were baseless, he backed off. He did the Sailor Moon thing where he pulled the cape, you know, in front of him, and he said, "My work here is done." Then he fucking dipped, and he later made weird passive-aggressive comments about me without... Yeah, he accused me of sea lioning when he came into my fucking tweet thread to talk shit at me when nothing there had been said about him. No, wait, I take it back. Bad Mouse Production is a fucking dipshit, a 40 IQ subhuman Neanderthal whose place is better served... No, actually, I think the videos he's making is perfectly suited towards the characterization I formed of him. Fuck me. Oh no! Oh no! Izzy Bear, no! Izzy Bear, I used to like you. Vosh live, doubling down on all of his yikes takes is cringeworthy. We get it, you're the only super smart, everyone else is obviously a basement-dwelling femoid with no worth or value. He live, refusing all critique and saying anyone who's spoken against him is too scared to come on. I'm in his chat saying I'll come on, he's not responding. Izzy, there are 2,000 people in chat and I'm responding to fucking donations. Also, I don't see any counter-arguments here. Izzy, where are you in chat? Is your name Izzy in chat, or do you have a different name? Izzy, I used to believe in you. No. Where are you, Izzy? You can't fucking shit talk me like that and say that I'm refusing a chance to debate you and then not show up in chat. If you want to debate, get in my fucking Discord, okay? Discord channel, live call-ins or whatever the fuck it's called. Oh shit, you're in my DMs. I'm right here. I live for this.
What's up, buddy?
Izzy, no! You're not streaming this, I assume.
No.
All right, I wouldn't want you to
I'd get in trouble.
Yeah, you get in trouble. Izzy, we used to be such friends. What happened?
All right. Before we go into all this, it has been ages. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderfully. I'm disheartened as always by the state of the online left, but I personally am doing well. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Did the huge push for partner. Twitch waited over a month to deny me for the 10th time because they had to wait a month to say that I didn't meet the requirements. So got disheartened, started playing a lot of games. Haven't been as politically active over the last month, but it's just kind of like a little break, just relaxing a bit, taking some me time.
That's fair. Fuck politics. I love my video game streams.
Right. Sure.
Which are heavily political anyway.
I get asked about you all the time, and I say that we used to actually be pretty close friends, and I feel like that's a fair descriptor.
Yeah, wait, what the fuck happened? Was it the Thought Slime drama that turned you around?
No, it wasn't specifically just the Thought Slime drama. I've actually and this is the way I word it when other people ask, because I'm sure people will go like hunting for clips now when other people ask, is like, I don't want to like openly shit talk you or drag you, but as someone who was pretty close with you personally online, it's some of your takes have been pretty disappointing lately, and it just seems to keep going in that arc.
I'm ready. Hit me up.
So yeah, I don't know. Your chat's like fucking flaming and getting really mad at me. I hope y'all aren't expecting blood sports. Like, Foch still does good shit. I still share a ton of overlapping community with you. By the way, a bunch of the people whose names are in your chat are often in mine. Like, isn't some big personal vendetta. I just don't think that you take any actual critique. I think you ignore it all and assume you're 100% correct from the beginning.
I mean, most critique is really, really bad. I think that when you're exposed to a bunch of opinions on whatever takes you're giving, it's likely that the majority of those opinions are going to be pretty fucking misinformed. I try my best to be open to criticism when I see it fit, but this most recent incident was literally somebody misinterpreting a statement I thought was so clear it was to be misinterpretable, misinterpretable. For the 30-second clip that they took, out of context, mind, so this is already being done in bad faith, for them to take from that I'm saying that that you're no longer non-binary if a straight person likes you, which is what I saw a lot of people interpreting from that clip. That's wild to me. I don't think people who are that incapable of critical analysis have any business telling me how to mind my interpretation of trans issues.
Right. Okay. This isn't just from the one thing for me, and I'll definitely start giving some more precise examples. Let me go give a shout out, tell people I'm on here too, see if we can't bring in a few more people as a result for you. But because hopefully, if you got other critiques and your actual problem, like you were just saying, is that no one will actually come on and talk with you, people absolutely should. You know me, I'm always for actually fucking defending what I have a problem with and actually calling out and explaining, and that's what I'm going to try to fucking do.
Yeah, hit me up. What specific takes do you think I've been misguided on?
So we got a lot that I could go hella deep in on. I'll start with the Stone Toss comic. I disagree that format can't be used in any way that would be funny that wouldn't be offensive to one minority culture.
You don't think there's any way to engage in performative cruelty without hurting minority groups?
There potentially could be with other certain jokes, but laughing at that one is just kind of gross in my opinion.
So your issue is with me
what
applauding.
What community could you put that same like joke set up to, like you say, where it would be funny and it wouldn't be like being used as some tool of oppression or punching down?
Oh, easily, yeah. If a cop got a hold of it. Now, finally, we can enact justice, and then 40% of cops' wives disappeared. I think that'd be fucking hilarious.
I'll give you that one. Okay, I had not considered the cop. I tried to look at it as many ways as I could. I thought about Nazis. There's no way. What would they do? Snap and then go on like a shooting rampage and only one Nazi dies for like 30 victims.
I think you could get like, if the Nazis snap it too, then like, I don't know how you would signpost this in the comic because these aren't like immediately visible traits, but every weeb or every like what they would call a degenerate, because Nazis purge their own all the time, you know, and most of them are massive hypocrites. You'd be like, finally, now we'll destroy the degeneracy in society, and they snap and they're all gone or something. I think there are ways that format could be applied. I don't think that the transphobia itself is like the driving element there, but I think the setup and punchline are a really great example of how performative cruelty can reinforce biases that the viewer didn't previously even know they had.
Yeah, that's my worry with it, is like the way that sharing those little things or laughing or being publicly like supporting of them usually does actually reinforce like biases, whether the person is like consciously aware of them or not, which would also take me to one of my other critiques of you. Like, even when you're like, so I'm not going to take you out of context here. I want to give you full context. And if you don't feel like I am at any point, please like pause and elaborate, by the way. But like the clip you just reviewed where you were imitating Blair White, being a smartass, and you used the T slur, right? Mm-hmm. You weren't using the T slur as you trying to be like openly demeaning. You're making fun of some shitlord. But all studies show, even people in those communities, because when we originally talked, you don't really identify as cis male. I don't think you really fall anywhere on give a fuck of gender.
I generally call myself cis for the sake of, I guess, normalcy or for convenience for reference. But I personally don't really care about gender identity.
Right. So, I mean, I don't really say that you're like openly trans, but I also don't really like lump you in as cis. And that's just trying to be as, you know, charitable as possible to how you just don't really identify with gender, which I can get behind.
You could probably fair me. Whatever I may personally go by, I benefit from every privilege a cis person could. So I'm perfectly comfortable being called that.
True. But even if you like were openly like me, okay, a trans person, all studies show like if I use dark humor like that, right? If I go into the gallows humor and I use actual slurs, my community is going to understand that joke. My community is going to get that joke, and my community is going to love it, right? Mm-hmm. But all of the cis or cishet or normative people that hear that and then use that joke to go and repeat it and tell a punchline and sound like it's coming from a trans person, so it's okay, continues to reinforce those negative biases in other people, and the bad tends to outweigh the good from all the studies we have seen. I did a full video with like linked sources if you want to check it out. I actually do YouTube now, by the way. I got a couple of actual video essays up with like full costumes and shit.
I don't of course I don't have, congrats on the YouTube channel. I don't have the studies in front of me, so I can't engage with those directly. All I can say is that to me, it's a calculated risk between two different variables. How many more people can I get on board with my arguments by using irreverent, edgy terminology, which I say saying the T slur in that context undeniably is. as opposed to how much am I reinforcing the preternatural biases that people in my community may have. Now, obviously, your opinion on where this falls is going to be determined largely by your opinion of my community. And I am biased, obviously. My community seems to me like a fairly progressive place with a hugely pro-trans bias, almost to a pathological extent. I swear they would, if some serial killer came out as trans, they would start supporting them. So when I get that impression from them, I feel as though the potential harm being done by me making a joke like that about Blair White is relatively minor, but my broader appeal is being able to appeal to people who might find that kind of edgy humor appealing.
But you see, that's exactly my worry, right? Because then it's reinforcing the biases in that like slightly edgy, subtle bias that exists in those other people that are going to hear it. And with you having a platform, that's going to get exposed to more and more people, even more than just the ones you see actively chatting. Also to your chat, because I know you wouldn't want them doing it, and I don't think anyone's doing it intentionally. It's she, her pronouns. And yes, I am vaping. Get the memes out. Do your thing.
Yeah, you can make fun of her for vaping. That's fine. I give you all permission. Yeah, I don't mind that much. I think that even though it may initially reinforce the biases of some people, those people are either probably me using the T slur in self-referential, making fun of Blair White way. I'm not like it reinforces a bias in some groups. I cannot deny that. But I don't think I'm lending these people any new arguments or any new perspectives that would reinforce their previous biases. It's mostly just a sort of status quo enabling. Same thing they would see if they just spent a moment on 4chan. But for some of those people, my ability to engage in that irreverent language is going to give them an in where they're like, oh, hey, this guy isn't like the other leftists. He's edgy. He gets it. And then they'll watch for a bit. And that's my in to not only not reinforce their bias, but turn them into a fucking queer like the rest of my community. And that's what I go for. I think that the potential for a broad, relatively infinitesimal reinforcement of negative values is worth the trade-off of being able to get the really good values saddled onto the few that stay and listen.
So I'm gonna shoot you some of the studies. I feel like it would be like, because we're doing this in like a live public format. I don't think that either of us is gonna want to dig through studies right now and actually break it down. Mm-hmm. But I do know that you give a shit and you'll look at them. So the whole reason I'm saying this, and it's gonna be really hard to like do it in some fast, easy, palatable way, but those exact things you're saying, you are wrong. Reinforcing those negative things does actually harm, even in a community where you think it doesn't, because the people who continually talk like this accidentally reinforce biases of people around them without even knowing they're doing it. Like studies were done on people who use like private racist remarks and things in like a private setting with family or friends that they don't believe to be racist.
They're used in the K Quarantine thing in his discussion with Destiny, were they not? Are these some of the same studies?
Some of them, yes, and more.
I don't think these are applicable to what I'm referring to. I agree that using prejudiced language can reinforce biases in those who listen. I don't think those studies take into account the much broader effect of me engaging in active pro-trans advocacy that can only reach people if they have a reason to listen to me in the first place. I don't think that's a variable that can be accounted for in those studies. If we're talking about individuals privately using the T-slur or other language like that, I would discourage them from doing so because they don't have that counterweight to make their potential reinforcement of biases worthwhile in the long run.
I don't understand how you can weigh that to where like you do so much good that it outweighs the bad. Like you're still doing bad.
Because the bad allows people who listen to me and change their mind, and that's the good. Every day I get emails from people saying I pulled them off the alt-right reactionary stuff, and a lot of them say they did it because I didn't come off like the ordinary leftist when they first heard me because I was edgy or like we've talked about this before. Like I don't play the same hurt feelings and ban out anything that I just automatically disagree with. I do a bunch of debating. I drag people through the fucking mud. Like but I feel like a lot of this dirtbag left like is now shifting to a lot less of that up front and a lot more of the beginnings of the anti-SJW left, because it's becoming more and more prominent. Anyone who does get critiqued when it feels to a community like they're crossing the line ignores that critique. You and Contra are prime fucking examples. I have big takes with Contra. My first video that as my largest viewed one was literally kill your heroes, and it's about this idea that you raise someone so high up on a pedestal and say that they do so much good that you don't have to worry about the bad they do. Their bad doesn't fucking matter at all. Like that's not a shield. Like doing some positive doesn't erase the harm that you're still actively doing. I strongly disagree with this. The idea that we should spend all of our time ruthlessly critiquing and taking down our content creators because they do small amounts of harm and leverage to the huge good they do.
I think even in that video and
incredibly
all the way up to this date,
self-destructive.
I've never said cancel anyone. I've never said stop watching their content. I've never said they've hell. I said I'm not watching fucking Contra anymore, and it's not because she's done harm. It's because she won't actually listen to anything that happens. So I'm no longer interested because she is doing active harm.
Wait, well, that's tomato tomato. You're no longer watching her because she's doing harm.
Right, but I don't actively call for like canceling and say no one should partake in their fucking content or you're a piece of shit if you do. I don't actively say that like they shouldn't be making content. No, Contra still does do some good, but like it's not okay to ignore the bad. Like content creators should feel open to critique. Content creators should be
I
willing
think they do, though.
to try and do better. I disagree entirely. That doesn't seem like what you were doing reviewing all those clips earlier.
There was nothing in those clips that was a worthwhile critique. They were clips of me taken out of context to reinforce a perspective of me, which is largely inaccurate. They weren't arguments, and for that reason, I didn't treat them as such. ContraPoints has taken into consideration the things said about her. I've spoken to her. Many of the arguments against her are just anemic. I've looked at all of this drama, this purported NB phobia she's engaged in. I agree she's engaged in some bad optics, could have handled some situations better than others. I wouldn't disagree with that at all. And that there are some ways in which she could have done better. But I don't think that's the same as saying she's a pattern of NB phobia, and I certainly don't think it's a justification of the broader persecution that she's seen at the hands of some components of our community.
I think anyone going to the extremist level of death threats and doxing is a worthless piece of shit. I'll give you that in a heartbeat.
Further than that, even much lighter than that too, saying that she's an NB-phobe or saying that she's a bigot or that she's an
I said that
anti-SJW.
she's made harmful statements, and that's what I'll hold true, and no one has ever seemed like they're reacting or responding or considering that in the least. And I know tons of other, like thousands of other have engaged in the same type of critique that I have. And you know, I wish people weren't dogpiley about it and it wasn't being mass spammed. But once again, she's like the face and forefront of the online trans movement, and she's making statements that harm non-passing trans people. She is making statements that harm non-binary. Yeah, the fuck she's not.
Yes, she's not.
She can literally be directly quoted that she's seen people with a full beard in full boy mode still saying she, her, as in having a beard invalidates them. As in having facial hair invalidates their fucking gender identity?
The implication of that statement wasn't that the gender identity is invalid, only that their presentation is a contradiction to what one would expect of that gender identity, which is an inarguable fact. At no point has Contra said their gender identity is invalid for how they presented.
Oh, man.
Why are you misinterpreting your statement so uncharitably?
I'm not misinterpreting your statements at all.
Do you think
I'm looking at how the wider scope of society is going to take the statements that she says.
Well, then that's a different. Well, for one, that's a different statement. Those are different statements. You can't say she said blank and then say, oh, well, actually, this is how society is going to interpret it.
That is what she said, and the problem is how it's going to be interpreted with, as I said at the beginning, her being seen as one of the largest faces of the online trans presence and fucking existence. How many people tell you the first interaction or first introduction to trans topics was from Contra? I hear it every fucking day.
Yes, and she's done a phenomenal job.
She's not doing the best that she could. She is actually fucking up actively in multiple situations.
How so?
The statements like that one, the statements about fucking pronoun introductions, the statements about fucking.
But I don't have an issue with either of those statements.
I don't know how better to explain to you that you should. I guess why do you take no issue with that? Because I am a trans woman who, you know, for a fact I don't pass. I'm very aware of the factor that I don't pass, and it does actually cause me a lot of shit in my life. And when I did No Shave November as a fucking content creator and had a full beard, I still used she, her fucking pronouns while raising a few $1,000s for cancer treatments. Like,
I don't think ContraPoints would tell you you're not a woman because you had a beard.
Oy vey.
Do you disagree with what I just said? Do you think
I believe her tweets felt really fucking invalidating to anyone who doesn't have her level of passing privilege because they can't afford it.
We're jumping around different points right now. So, to my knowledge, ContraPoints has made multiple statements on how one's ability to present as the gender that they identify as, it's largely affected by physical attributes, many of which that she is privileged to be able to augment through her wealth. She has made videos on that particular subject. And with regards to the pronoun usage, she merely expressed her personal opinion that for her specifically, everyone doing these little pronoun sharing circles can feel invalidating to her because in non-trans friendly circles, she is treated plainly and flatly as a woman in all respects, but in hyper woke circles, everyone sort of eyes her expectantly, waiting for the pronoun drop because she knows They know that she's trans and she gets treated like it. I know that's not everyone's experience, and so does she. She made that clear.
Her entire statement about that would have been completely fine and just her opinion and not been invalidating to people if she hadn't added like the last sentence and a half to 2 sentences where this is only for non-binary people, because it's absolutely not. Like, actually normalizing and introducing pronouns helps the trans community massively overall, and the trick is to try and get cis people to introduce with their pronouns whether or not they think there's a trans person in the room. If it is only happening because there is a trans person in the room, then yeah, that's really shitty, which is what she started off as trying to portray. But then that extra tidbit at the end is where it just went off the fucking rails and started to make people uncomfortable and bother them,
never said
because
that
it's like such an
pronouns is bad.
inconvenience. Oh man, I wish I still had the fuck. I used to have all these in a fucking quick file and I deleted them off my drive.
She just said that she personally didn't like it very much because it made her feel worse. She didn't say they were bad or that people shouldn't do them. And I certainly don't think she said that non-passing trans people don't benefit from those little pronoun circles.
She specifically said at the end that this is only for the only people who do benefit from this are non-binary people.
I would
like
need to see
and literally used the words, it's such an inconvenience to her because she passes. Like, it's literally all about her passing privilege.
Wait. That's true. She's tweeting about her experience, and it is an inconvenience to her.
Right, but then she added that extra unnecessary tidbit. That's where that tweet became a problem. Yeah, I don't have the links anymore if somebody does.
Oh, sorry, I muted myself. Chat, if you're free to bring up links of that specific tweet chain, because I'm relatively certain that she also mentioned non-passing trans people. For some reason, I have my mute button on my down arrow key, so anytime I'm trying to search for something, I invariably mute myself.
If she added non-passing trans people in there, that still doesn't change or invalidate the fact that this is all because of her fucking personal passing privilege, and she's condemning it like it's bad.
No, she's saying that's her personal experience. She's sharing her experience. She's saying it's not bad, just that she personally would prefer this or that. I mean,
then,
I can't believe we're literally
I'm not arguing over just this one tweet, though. That's the thing, is now we're like hyper focusing on it. She's had a pattern of doing these over and over, one at a time.
It's always that. It's always the pattern.
Always,
every time an example comes up, that example gets blown the fuck out, and then there's a pattern. The same thing happens to me. Vosh has a pattern of behavior. Oh, give me an example. Oh, here's one example. Oh, well, that's misrepresented. Oh, that's a stupid point. Oh, well, there's a pattern. I don't care about the patterns. I need specific examples that I can argue over. In this, I don't think she did anything wrong. She, a trans woman, shared her personal experience when it comes to the sharing of pronouns. I think that's her right, and it seems like she made credence to express the fact that other people, like non-passing trans people or non-binary people, do benefit from sharing pronouns in that way. So I don't have an issue with that.
As a non-passing person who read that, and as someone who talks with a fuck ton of the community who represent those people, we don't feel that that was done in a validating way like you're trying to present it.
That's not an argument.
It wasn't done in a positive way, and that is the massive overall impact that came from it. And this isn't just about even just those 2 tweets. She's done this like 3 or 4 fucking times throughout. And like, the problem here is like, okay, if you're expressing your own personal, that's fine. You're gonna have some little personal yikesy fucking takes. When you're constantly told that this is problematic and hurts members of your community when worded this way, why do you not at least put forth
this isn't an argument. This is literally feels over facts. I need arguments, because this argument that just because a bunch of people are hurt, you're not listening to us. A bunch of people get hurt with the shit I say all the time. I don't give a fuck about them because they're neo-Nazis. The fact that people are upset by the things that I say is not.
Those aren't the only people that get hurt by what you say, Vosh.
Well, that's the thing. Then why do I only have to listen to the feelings of the woke community and not to the feelings of the Nazis? Are they less human than you? I like to listen to arguments, not to the feelings of people who are upset. People get upset over all stupid shit all the time.
When you have all of these other people who are watching you that don't believe the same things as you do, and you're giving these, it kind of hurts the communities that you want to help when you give like bad or fucking invalidating takes. And it's not the end of the world. We all do it. I make fucking mistakes as a content creator too. Like, it gets really fucking annoying and it sucks and you have to figure it out. But the difference is being able to actually look at it and go, okay, I'm sorry, I see how that might have phased some of you. Here's a better way to phrase it, and I'll try to work on that in the future. instead of just saying, no, I'm right, fuck you. If you disagree with me, you're scum that lives in mommy's basement. You've got no life and you're only concerned with fucking social capital. I find all of that fucking hilarious because I disagree with some of the shit you've said. I definitely disagree with a lot of the shit Contra said. And earlier you said anyone critiquing Contra is like a basement fucking femoid who only cares about canceling people for social capital, yada, yada, yada. But anecdotally, we know I don't fit that fucking descriptor at all.
I mean,
literally, there are plenty of fucking people who have actual genuine critiques of mistakes that people are making, and nobody wants to fucking hear them.
Then why do I keep hearing about the critiques?
This feels over facts.
Why do I keep hearing about the critiques and not hearing the critiques?
Because I've given you critiques and you won't listen to them. You're just like,
this is the problem that I have with this is the problem that I have here. I have listened. I disagree. I've explained the reasons why I disagree, but you still characterize that as me not listening. A counter argument isn't ignorance. It's me disagreeing with you. This is what I mean.
I've told you how it affects like the fucking community as a whole. I don't know how much further into detail I'm supposed to go.
Your feelings, the arguments you have given, I have responded to them. This is
They're not just my feelings. Like, this is the feelings of like thousands and thousands of people critiquing our very publicly.
And there are thousands and thousands of people who say that those critiques are invalid. These are feelings. You're giving feelings. I need the arguments. This is exactly what people say. We should ban all immigration to our country. Why? Well, folks don't like it. They don't like their culture being destroyed. Well, sure, give me some arguments. Why shouldn't they come in? Well, folks don't like it. What the fuck do you mean?
I've tried to hand you facts on any of the fucking topics we've talked about. You said you disagree with how those relate to it, when very clearly the studies showed that they very fucking
the study I gave specific reason why the study you provided doesn't relate to the experiences of a left-leaning content creator who is using a particular strategy to get people on board. An effective strategy, mind you, considering the size of my audience and how many people I've managed to get on board in such a short time. So I don't think that study is particularly applicable, but I agree with its pertinence in regards to interpersonal interactions, with regards to the arguments you've given surrounding Contra.
And you don't think that's in the least bit applicable to parasocial? You don't think that's going to phase how a lot of your viewers or a lot of your non-fans who hear it are still going to go and interact with other people and the quotes that are going to be made?
Well, this is a good thing.
You really
the
don't
vast
see...
majority of my content is extremely progressive, where I encourage people to be good, out in their day-to-day lives. It's not like this is being done in a vacuum.
And that's fine, but like, you can't just wave off everything where you do kind of cross a line that fucking like really bothers people and potentially causes actual fucking harm.
I'm not waving it off.
Point.
I'm explaining why I think that the metrics are valid in this respect. That I think the good I do through my strategies make those strategies worthwhile.
I don't think that good erases bad. Like, you can still the whole point is there. That's like our key disagreement, and I don't know how we can get to it because this is not something. This is
because
like
I couldn't do
all
the
theoretical. We can't actually like measure this and say this is the guaranteed result.
Do the bad. I'm sorry, I couldn't do the good, which is to reach the number of people I do and expose them to the progressive content that I produce, without the bad, which is engaging in the edgy advocacy that allows people to change their minds on me. When people who are far right-leaning view your content, there is nothing that you can say that will make them see you as anything other than like a subhuman, because that's how they are. Their brains are just wired wrong. But when I, an edgy fucking dude who's over here warbling and occasionally saying slurs, I can approach them on a level that they might see some respectability on. And 2 or 3 months down the line, they might listen to the things that I have to say. And I consider that an enormous good, the ability to reach people on that level, even if that means that occasionally some people have to get their feelings hurt. That is an inextricable consequence of the broader good that is done. And I think that's worthwhile. And I think about it every day. It's not like I don't take these into consideration. I feel it very insulting or patronizing when people accuse me of not listening to the people who criticize me. When I do listen, I respond to those criticisms and I move on doing the best thing I think I can do.
What that literally like brings me back to is exactly why I haven't said you or Contra or anybody else is fucking canceled. You shouldn't make content, yada, 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 yada. My point is, you think your way is infallible, and then when people critique you, you like slam and haunt on them without seeming to understand why people are affected or feel bothered. And
I do understand, and I respond to those arguments. I don't ignore them, I respond to them. There's a difference. Do you think it's possible for me to disagree with like a trans woman on trans issues, and for me to disagree and walk away from that, continuing to disagree, and to have actually engaged with the argument and walk it away? Or am I just ignoring them by default? I just have to listen to what the majority says.
Everything I've seen on, and to be fair, I like, just like you don't have the time to watch other fucking content creators 24/7. I don't have the same fucking time for you. So like, I don't see a whole lot of your excess content. I see like the clips that get you, and then I try to go watch that full stream so that I have the content, because I don't ever want to like just shit on you in bad faith and say that you're a piece of shit. Even when I still bring it up, I talk about the fucking good that you do and the factor that you do have a large audience and that you are specifically aiming to de-radicalize people. And I think from the very first time we met, we talked about what I believe in, which is like the more unified left. And we do have to have room for like dirtbag left tactics. We do have to have room for like the super woke, and we do need like this spectrum at working together.
So what
and we
happened?
need that.
Because I'm not even remotely reactionary, and I've calmed down with the dirtbag stuff quite a bit. I feel like my content is mostly orthodox. I've gotten less edgy with time, but it feels like the people who criticize me from the beginning have the same criticisms with the same group of people. It feels like it's an identity status thing. It's not an actual response to my arguments, which is why these people don't ever make arguments. They block me on Twitter. They block my fans on Twitter. They have huge block lists. They never engage with opposition. They don't respond to my invites to talk about anything, and they don't type out arguments themselves. They just type out laundry lists of my perceived moral sins without having to provide any context other than 3-second out of context clips on Streamable. It's incredibly frustrating.
I will like 100% say I actually cannot stand the people who do that shit. I agree with you entirely. Like, if you're going to have a problem with someone, especially if you're a content creator, okay, like if you're an individual who watches, maybe not so much, but if you're a content creator like me, if you're a content creator like you, etc., or these other content creators that are critiquing you, and you're going to publicly talk some shit or disagree with someone, you should be ready to back that up and come in here and talk, whether or not you're going to feel like you won, lost, express, yada yada, or if it was all feels like a huge fucking waste of time. If you're going to run your mouth and say it to your followers and your fans, you should absolutely step the fuck up and do this right here. Vosh and I haven't talked in ages. Those DMs have been open this whole time. For anyone who didn't hear it, I private DM'd him because we have a history. His DMs have been open to me for fucking ages. This whole time when talking about you, I haven't come to you directly, and I haven't tried to start a big fucking between us, because I know the memes are going to come from this and people are going to try to stir the fucking drama pot for ages. So remember, at the end of the day, I love you, boo.
Oh, that's fine. I love the drama pot. I only benefit from it, like algorithm wise. I don't understand. The thing that really bothers me is that and you've done this too, so you can't walk away from this. People say I have arguments against you, and then they provide one or two, and those arguments get run through, and I give my counter arguments, and then they back up and say, well, there's a pattern, or well, other people believe
we can
this.
keep talking about other ones. We really derailed on specific ones, so like we can keep going in general. Yeah, I don't like the way that when large members of the community do have an issue with you, you seem just really fucking dismissive of the trans community. Now, I know you do have like a fucking fuck ton of trans and non-binary people in your fucking audience still, I get it, but I haven't seen any of that. That's not to say it doesn't exist. You're more than welcome to tell me that I'm fucking wrong on this and that you have addressed it. I haven't seen the addressing of it, so it just felt pretty fucking cold shoulder to me, but I assume you responded to it. But now that today, because the new drama was so fresh, I pulled up YouTube and it showed you live, so I was watching you respond, and the response I saw today didn't look very fucking healthy. So if that's how you've been responding the whole time, then I don't think you're actually taking any of the critique seriously.
I mean, I don't care whether or not a person is trans if they're making a critique of my behavior or opinions. I just care about the validity of the argument. Whether or not they're trans can inform their experiences leading into that argument. I don't disagree with that. But I don't think that arguments are made more valid by them having come from a trans person. What about the earlier NB thing do you think was invalid?
From what I've really fucking seen, like the clip you reacted to and still said is true, like all the fucking trans people against Contra are fucking basement dwelling assholes. When the trans community has said you've made some yikes statements in the past, I don't have the exact clips of that, and this has been a while. I'm very sorry, I can't give you an exact on this one. I just know it's happened and I can't remember in detail, because I wasn't prepared for this to be a big in-depth fucking debate.
Yeah,
I just
you don't
saw
need to
you
provide
live today and
sources or
heard this
links or
shit.
anything. I just want like concrete examples of my misbehavior.
I would have to come back to you probably at a different time with that thing, because I don't have the exact fucking receipts up. I just know that what I saw today definitely didn't look very fucking healthy, and if that's what's been happening this whole time, maybe I should have fucking commented earlier that this isn't the right. But
well, yeah, most of Contra's
more
critics.
so like yesterday. All right, you talked about fucking he/him lesbians and non-binary people, and it doesn't seem like you actually knew what you were talking about. You didn't like go aggressively intentionally harmful. It just really actually sounds like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about there.
Well, I believe I said that he, him, lesbian seems a little bit oxymoronic because lesbian is traditionally meant to refer a woman with a woman. However, words change and that identity is stupid anyway, so identify however you want to identify. I believe
this isn't a new change, and this is what I mean. Like, this is something where you didn't actually know where it came from, and you talked about it, and now it's like this huge controversy, and everybody's like,
if you're going to ascribe, for one, people are shitting on me for the thing where they interpreted me as saying that NB people aren't NB if straight people like them. Not for this lesbian thing.
Okay. Well, we'll get into that too. But like,
as for the lesbian thing, I understand there are some aspects of like queer lesbian theory that ascribe he, him lesbianism as a possible thing. Whether or not I agree with those aspects of that theory does not mean I do not listen to them or not aware of them. If you would like to make the argument, you are free to. I don't think there's much prescriptive benefit in destroying the meaning of lesbian, much in the same way that I have made arguments in the past against the creation of new gender terminology. It's consistent.
I feel like it's something you should like study a bit more, because he, him, lesbian has actually been around for decades, and it started with earlier feminist movements where butch lesbians were bucking against the patriarchy and started referring to themselves as husbands or he or him with their significant others, because at the time women's identity was only really socially promoted or valid due to their husband and their marital status.
I'm aware that lesbians,
and that is where
history.
he, him, lesbians actually came from.
Yes, and that non-conformity that has a history of within the history of lesbianism would only mean something if there were people like me saying that lesbian actually has a meaning. If we all just gave up on that, then it wouldn't be very counterintuitive, would it? It would just be
arguable, yeah.
Another thing you could do. I don't care.
As for the non-binary part, you
really quickly though, what's the argument
go ahead.
that if a woman acts masculine, that she's he, him, then, or she becomes?
No, it's all about self-identity. That's it. It's about if they choose to use that terminology and they feel it's like them going against the patriarchy.
So are they trans then?
That's where it's going to get into way more complicated, subtle nuances. And
you mean,
it's why
let's be real here. You mean bullshit linguistic semantics that people use because it deviates from the norm? Yeah, I don't give a fuck about that.
It will absolutely get to that, because it's like bucking against the status quo. It's trying to break that like heteronormative, cisnormative interaction.
Yeah, I like words having meanings personally.
And you see that to people who fucking identify that way, probably gonna come off a little invalidating.
Yeah, and people can identify however they like. Gender is an identity. The term lesbian has a definitive, concrete definition. I know people have bucked that trend in favor of anti-heteronormativity, anti-establishment, self-identification. But what is the end result here? That no word means nothing? Like, it seems to me like an entirely vapid.
I don't think it's as much about the word as you're trying to make it. It's more about the norms and the social expectations. It's about that social construct and the way we interact with it, and the way that society, not really us, but society, really worship those fucking gender norms and those gender expectations, and the way that they're used as tools of oppression.
Okay.
And that's why I don't go against it.
Well, I mean, I'm a gender abolitionist, so I hate like all of this stuff. I just don't know if he, him, lesbianism is the ideological trend that's going to lead to the destruction of gender. It's fitting because a lot of those second wave feminists ended up becoming TERFs, so I don't know how well they've actually adhered to their broader attempts to destroy the patriarchy.
You're definitely not fucking wrong there, but I mean, it's still a thing though, and like I try to respect that was their way of fighting. That was their way of trying to buck the system. Whether or not it ended up totally effective or not is irrelevant to the factor that that's what they felt they were doing that could or couldn't be useful, and I don't see a reason to like shit on that. Is basically where I'm at.
I mean,
I don't think shitting on it's going to do any good.
I don't think I said anything factually incorrect. Lesbianism traditionally refers to women on women. However, terminology and gender is complicated, identifies whatever you want to identify. Am I not adhering to the sentiment of those who referred to themselves as he, him lesbians back in the day?
Honestly, I'd have to really talk to he, him lesbians a bit more. It's actually really hard to find butch he, him lesbians and get their feeling on it. I'm going off of what I could find through a lot of internet posts and through a couple older lesbians that I knew that had a lot of like butch community friends. And that's like, I did this a few months ago because someone came to me with he, him lesbians and I didn't know how the fuck to respond. That's the only reason I know the history of it, is because I started studying it. And it's actually really hard to find all of the actual fucking study about it.
Would you be comfortable with me referring to myself as a lesbian? Just because it bucks heteronormativity to use terminology that isn't typically associated with a man, which I identify as, going after women?
That would be the thing, right? If you identify as that, then no, that's actually a problem. Like that's like invalidating. Then that's like that.
Wait, so it's invalidating.
Like that's a really reactionary take.
So it's invalidating. No, it's not. So it's invalidating for a man to call themselves a lesbian to buck heteronormativity, but it's not invalidating for butch lesbians to call themselves he, him lesbians. because it invalidates heteronormativity. Those are identical.
Just because they go by the pronouns that he, him, they literally say, like, he, him, lesbians still say they identify as women.
Sure, I identify as a man. I'll just go
using-
by she, her, lesbian. Yeah.
Wow. You're
Well,
getting, like,
do you not have a
really
counter
fucking
argument?
reactionary on this.
Do you not have a counter argument to that? In both
Yeah, it's
cases,
absolutely not the same thing. Like, you're not a fucking
heteronormativity is
female.
being-
You don't identify as a female. You're throwing out this
so wait,
like vague
yeah,
fucking.
they're butch lesbians and they're going by he, him. They don't identify as a man, but they're going as he, him. I identify as a man. I'm going by she, her. These are identical. In both cases, heteronormativity is being bucked. You're only supporting one of them because you've been told to support one of them.
She, her, gay. If you wanted to go by she, her, gay to fucking buck, then go ahead. But then, like, you just trying to, like, say you're a lesbian to get in there is
You've
be,
been
like, fucking
told
cringe.
which one to be in support of and which one is reactionary. They're
I have
identical
not.
ideologically.
I literally just said if you wanted to go by she, her, gay, that would be identical fucking binary, right? That would be the identical fucking juxtaposition.
So if there were
not
he, him lesbians that
she,
wanted to call
her,
themselves
lesbian, you.
If there were
That's
he,
not
him-
the fucking juxtaposition.
if there
to
were
buck
he,
the
him
fucking
lesbians
system.
calling themselves gay, would you call them reactionary?
Probably.
Really?
I guess I'd have to actually see that fucking happen and be able to assess it. What you're trying to do right now is just like create this like hyperbolic what if to like fucking completely destroy the idea
I'm
instead of like
pointing out-
fucking
I'm pointing out that-
understanding that this has existed way before you.
Oh, I'm pointing
and it's
out-
not an idea that needs
Izzy,
to be fought.
I'm pointing out that you're an ideologue, that you don't care about the underlying ideology. You've just been told which has historical precedent and which is woke and which is problematic.
told
and
me?
that you're assigning.
Who
I
told
don't.
me?
You know, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know who told you, Izzy. But your vitriolic
Right, because
reaction to
this is just
something
like a
that is
completely, like-
ideologically identical to what you suggested, when you would be fine with the
No,
he, him,
you
lesbian
using
thing.
she, her, lesbian would not be the exact
How?
opposite to it. It wouldn't. You using she, her, gay would be.
How? Okay, so you have a problem with the lesbians using he, him, gay with one another? I don't understand what the distinction is between these groups, except one has precedent and one doesn't.
I feel like you're just hyper trying to police how people fucking identify right now on the
Wait, how am I trying to
semantics
police?
of
Wait, you're the one
language.
saying I'm a reactionary for identifying as a she, her lesbian.
No, you're literally only doing that to get the reactionary. So that
No,
you
I'm
can say
pointing
that
out
this
that
is some
they're
pre-programmed
identical,
shit.
and you don't have a counter argument. You're just saying one is reactionary and one isn't.
I
but you don't have
literally
any
said
reasons
that,
why.
that like saying you're a she, her, lesbian isn't identical, and you're not responding to that at all.
How is it different? Is heteronormativity not being bucked?
If you wanted to take the exact identical argument with you being assigned male at birth, it would be you being she, her, gay. Would it or would it not?
Yeah. What difference does it make whether I identify as she, her, gay or she, her, lesbian in regards to fighting heteronormativity? You don't know, and I don't know, because this is just meaningless semantics to play with the definition of existing words in a bland, blith, useless attempt to fight heteronormativity. There's a reason why this ideological trend hasn't continued to today. This is a meaningless argument. And my original argument in the clip that was clipped out of context was me saying that words and identity are complicated. We shouldn't fuss about them too much.
That part I'll agree with you on. We really shouldn't be it's an issue.
All right. What about the NB thing?
The MB thing you just seem to paint with a pretty broad brush, and that's what everybody seems to be like really pissed about.
I mean, I'm factually correct on this. Is there something? What specific issue?
Are you like factually correct on it?
Yes.
Because aren't there MB people who would be assigned male at birth that don't look anywhere near like their expected societal that would get reactions from them being with someone?
Yeah, that's why I never
Aren't
said
there-
all NB people. I said some NB people in some circumstances. Yes.
I can't remember exactly. I thought it was.
I would
most
never
or
say
some shit.
all NB people.
That's literally what people are getting mad about. Is that
Yeah,
is
no
it felt
shit,
like a
because
broad
these
strokes?
communities are
I don't think
stupid.
that one's ridiculous. I'm pointing out that that in that one, like you weren't actually too fucking disgustingly overboard. It just seemed like a really broad brush.
But it
that
wasn't,
then
because I
people
didn't
are
say
gonna bitch
all.
that it's
They
not enough.
interpreted all because these communities act in bad faith.
See, now you're making it about the entire community.
The community of people who interpreted that from what I said are acting in bad faith, because I refuse to believe any adult capable of managing a Twitter account could interpret what I said in such a bad way. The quote from the 30-second clip.
Now the community isn't like the NB or trans or LGBTQ community. it's the community of trans people.
No, no. In this case,
it's just the community of people on Twitter.
It's the woke skull.
But that's
community.
not the way people are taking it when you say fucking community so vaguely. It's like you're swinging at the fucking trans community again.
Well, my community is largely a trans community too, so I'm obviously not referring to them. It's the woke skull community, the Twitter community, whatever you want to say. You can't ascribe conspiratorial intent to me when I say that community. I'm talking about the community that's ascribing these bad intentions to me. The 30-second clip pretty clearly simply stated that NB identity versus sexual attraction can be complicated, and that it wouldn't really be reasonable to call a straight person queer if they found themselves attracted to an NB who was assigned the sex or the gender at birth that they find themselves typically attracted to. So
that's the part I do actually disagree with, though. That's the part that I do disagree with. I do believe if you're dating a non-binary person and you respect their identity, then yeah, you're LGBTQ. You're not fucking het. That's for damn sure.
Okay. I mean, I don't think that's necessarily the case. No.
How is that not the case?
If
you just see them as what like they were assigned, then you're dating someone and you don't actually fucking respect their identity.
No, you can respect somebody's identity but still be attracted to them because of their association with the biological characteristics that are associated with the gender they were assigned at birth.
Okay, all right. This is gonna like break into massive fucking nuance again if we really do it. It's just gonna break into fucking semantics.
I had this discussion earlier on the stream. You know there are lots of trans girls who will go on Grindr to fuck gay dudes, right?
There are, yeah.
Yeah, this is really common. So are those gay dudes suddenly like pan or bi because they're fucking a trans woman who doesn't pass, who looks more masculine? I don't think anyone could reasonably say that, because attraction is a lot more complicated than one's identity. Identity is in the skull. We don't look at people's skulls when we decide who we want to fuck. We generally look at their body, their behavior, performance, demeanor, personality.
I don't know. I don't know. Anything I give is gonna sound too fucking anecdotal, and it's gonna start breaking into fucking semantics again.
But I don't disagree. This isn't always the case. There are absolutely exceptions to this. I'm just saying in some circumstances, I think that being straight and being into a non-binary person sexually, and I think that was the context of the discussion, doesn't make you queer, because you can be attracted to, if you're into tits and you're into fucking pussy or whatever, and it's
isn't this just like breaking down identity to fucking like physical characteristics then though?
No,
like,
not identity.
That's what it's gonna feel like.
Sexual attraction, not identity. They're still NB, no matter what they have on their body. I don't think NBs are no longer NB if like a straight dude is into them or whatever. That'd be pretty weird. But I think that the if a straight dude is attracted generally into people with long hair, tits, and a pussy, and they see someone with those characteristics and they have sex with them, knowing they're non-binary, I don't think it necessarily changes their sexual identity. Now that it could, but it doesn't necessarily change their sexual identity.
I don't know, because I really have a hard time weighing that with the like age-old debate that usually when you like talk with someone who says they wouldn't date a trans person, and just that overall blanket usually stems from actual fucking transphobia. When it does comes to the things that like fucking sexually attract you, it does like link in and phase with your sexuality and can also overlap with pre-existing biases. So like looking at this statement, right? I mean, if it's like a fucking one night stand hookup and the person just wants to fuck, it is what it is, right? Like you said, plenty of trans women end up fucking gay guys because we're fucking horny and not dating someone, and it's really fucking hard to find a cis het person that's actually okay with fucking a trans person. So yeah, it's been an age-old fucking thing. That's literally happened since the dawn of the fucking community, and it'll continue to happen long after we're all fucking gone. So like in the senses of like a one night stand, yeah, I'd probably agree with your overall statement. I would say I don't think a straight person can be in like a long-term loving relationship with a non-binary person and still see themselves as actually straight and respect that. They'd have to be at least like heteroflexible or fucking questioning to equal that. But
sexuality is an identity, is it not? There are lesbians who are nonetheless married to a man who love that man and are attracted to them, and it's a cisgender man, but they still call themselves lesbians. Now, whether or not that description is accurate, I don't like it when people just play with words, personally. I like words having meanings because it makes it easier to argue for given points. But I just think it's a little bit reductive to say that if you like fuck an NB person, you're by definition queer. You'd have to be, Because no matter what gender you're assigned at birth, fucking an NB person would make you queer by definition of being an NB. That like doing so instantly makes you so. What if they only identify as NB a month after you have sex with them? Does it like retroactively? I don't know. But that's all I was saying.
At the time, you were definitely like fucking passing as cis and yada yada yada.
A lot of NB people pass as cis 24/7.
And yeah, and if they don't like make it about fucking identity and they don't have those long in depths, then obviously that person isn't like fucking knowledgeable or informed or interested in that portion of. I guess it comes down to the difference of like the one night stand and like the actual respecting and loving relationship.
Then we don't disagree. We agree there's nuance on this subject, but broadly speaking, it's possible for attraction towards an NB person to not be a component of a queer sexual identity. Yeah, that's 100% what I said.
Yeah.
Then why did people get so fucking mad over it, and why should I take their criticism seriously?
I think the clip I watched, it's the one Eva put a link up to. It's much longer than 30 seconds and gives like the actual context. I don't really feel like you went into that nuance, and I think people just really latched onto it because there's a lot of people that have a fucking Vosh hate boner and have for a very long time.
There are, and it makes it really difficult for me to assess which communities are coming at me to criticize my points in good faith. But to this day, like I still have yet to see like any real good criticism from these groups when it comes to my behavior. We disagree on certain things, but I think I can back up my disagreement with some pretty substantial, counter arguments. I like the disagreement because it keeps me on my toes. I don't want to fall into a rut or anything, but I just don't like it when people accuse me of not engaging with these arguments or of ignoring them when most of them are like shit flinging and screeching from the peanut gallery.
I haven't seen a lot of reaction from you to them, so I can't honestly say I don't think you take these critiques, or you do or you don't. Today's reactions are what made me feel like this was really fucking reactionary and not healthily engaging, and that's why I finally fucking was just like, okay, you know what, if I'm gonna critique it, I'm gonna fucking speak up. And I made the fucking Twitter thread, and then I fucking started messaging in here, because it just today's definitely looked like bad faith, and that's what people are gonna 100% try to portray you in. So here's what
they're fucking mauling, because they want the 2.7k viewers. That I want to argue everything I say there, especially the part where I called all femoids duplicitous trash. All of it is true. I have no recourse on this. The thing that people seem to get most, that was a joke, by the way, just to clarify.
I assume with your fucking smart ass callous self
I
assume that the first time I saw the clip.
I make jokes about women more often than any because I feel they're the community who's least at risk within my own. To me, the idea of my community like reinforcing prejudice against women because of the hyper ironic femoid jokes, it's nearly unthinkable. But it's edgy enough that I can still appeal to the sensibilities of the Channer crowds who come in here and 3 months later become leftists. I
think this is one of the key points.
People.
I think this is one of the key points that we're going to continue to disagree on. And when you see or hear critique from me, it's going to be the factor that you are okay with that like fucking swinging down little joking here and there because you think it gets you a better outreach to the shitbag community you're trying to reach. And do you? It's your fucking content. I just disagree. I still think it's going to be causing too much negative reinforcement in people that have at least subtle biases they either aren't aware of or are aware of and feel more confident seeing those content creators. And I think we're going to continue to see, because we have actually been seeing it, but I think we're going to continue to see a rise of more anti-SJW or really shitty shitbag fucking left from this type of fucking content. I think we're going to see people who come in and start to cling to the leftist ideas, but are still really shitty to trans people, are still really, really shitty to fucking women, are still really shitty to minority communities overall. I think that's going to continue to happen, and I think the dirtbag left is accelerating that.
But I don't think it depends on what you mean by dirtbag left, but I don't produce any of that. My content and my community is aggressively progressive when it comes to trans issues, women's issues. I think I do more work to prevent this than anything. I've actively stood against class reductionists and leftists who use leftism as a shield to avoid discussing like identity issues. My communities are heavily like progressive integrated. If you go you're probably in my Discord, I imagine, but if you're not, the Discord.
I've been in your Discord since it started. I'm still
gay
there.
And flowery as it comes. I don't think I contribute to reactionary tendencies. If I am anti-SJW, then the only SJWs I'm against are the groups that take those clips out of context and make nothing arguments against me, which I feel fair to be against if I want to.
So unlike everybody else, I don't give a shit about your audience. I'm a non. Don't fucking pull the numbers. We all know it. I'm lucky and I'm happy sitting around 150. It's where I live. It's where I do my best work. I don't give a fuck. So when it comes to it in the future, here's what I'll promise you, all right? When I see a clip or a fucking statement and I say that's fucking wrong, I'm gonna shoot you a DM. And if we want to talk about it, we'll fucking talk about it. Because that'll be a lot more productive than this like wide where I haven't fucking spoken to you in ages, you haven't fucking spoken to me in ages. We kind of just like fell off and went our separate ways when you had to move to the new platform. So in the future, when I see one that I want to disagree with, we'll be able to like very specifically focus on that fucking one. All right. And I'll happily come on and fucking do so because I'm never fucking scared to back up or what I feel or what I say or why I say the things we do. I will say, I think one of our big key disagreements is that I do think that you do actively engage in some of the dirtbag left. It may not be the overarch of your content, but like where you're smart aleckly using the fucking T-slur, where you're like fucking laughing at those gross content things, where you're still saying these things, yada, yada, in certain contexts, shift this, yada, yada, all the context, all the nuance. I still think it at least does some kind of harm. I still think it reinforces biases in people. And I don't think I can let that go.
I mean, you're free to feel that way. I just don't see these elements of my community, these reactionary outcroppings where fans of mine are acting like huge pieces of shit because they learned from Daddy Vosh that it's okay to say the T-slur. But I see tons of people who are otherwise unfamiliar with trans issues being introduced to them through my community. Not as many as
I definitely can agree that you do create a lot of fucking positive reactions as well. I'm not arguing that in the least. I'm not saying all you do is gross destructive harm, but I am saying there are elements of it that do still reinforce that, and I think that's still going to happen, whether you think it's worth it or not, or whether you don't think it does or doesn't happen. Earlier, it seemed like you definitely believe it could happen. You just think it outweighs what good you do.
I mean,
what good you do outweighs it. I'm sorry.
We both seem to agree the good I do outweighs it, in which case it would be by definition worthwhile, would it not?
I don't really think the good fucking guaranteed outweighs it. I think if you could do this without doing the active harmful parts, it'd be better. But that's me. I'm not saying you shouldn't fucking create. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm saying we definitely have a fucking difference there. And that's one that a lot of people aren't going to be able to move past.
That's fine. I mean, most of the people who make arguments against me are literally beneath consideration, and they seem to be getting smaller relative to my community, so I'm fine mostly just waiting them out. They can stay small and irrelevant and choose to misinterpret my arguments in bad faith if they want to. Not saying that you're doing that, but the broader community that condemns me, I think, is for the most part guilty of those tendencies. But that's okay. We're all just doing our best to affect
when I made my huge Twitter thread, by the way, you saw the one with me like lolling at you.
No, I only saw the one saying.
By the way,
I only saw the one you taunting me.
When I made the other one, I didn't even like mention your name or act on you. I just did a big huge thread about fucking he/him lesbians and about like different scopes of non-binary people and left it extremely fucking vague. Like most of my times that I do comment on this, I'm never actually shitting on you and haven't been. And I don't fucking plan to. Like we go way back, and I do still like fucking consider you kind of a friend. I feel like we've definitely drifted apart. And I feel like we definitely have some bigger differences now that have come to light. But you are still like at your core a good person trying to do the right thing. It's just I feel like we have some differences in opinion on how that's done, and I don't think there's any solid proving of either way.
Well, hopefully my heart core grows 3 sizes this day, and maybe I can move forward to being a good person in general. Thank you for coming on.
Have a good one, man.
Also, message me on Twitter, not Discord. Discord messages get ignored. I have too many fucking Nazis who message me.
Will do.
All right, peace. All right. I know there are people who want to talk to me, but you're not going to be talking to me. I love you guys. I love you from a distance. I don't recall ever saying that I was talking to anyone else after that. Guccian's in the chat? Yes, Guccian is in the chat. Talk to Eva? Eva's not here. Yeah, Eva can't be here. Eva's on Twitch. Time for some spirit science? Yeah, maybe. All right. Well, that went maybe slightly better than I expected it to. Okay, how do we feel, chat? How are we doing? I still have donos to go over, goddammit. Spirit science to lighten the mood? Nah, I feel great. I love these convos. It's been a while since I've talked with somebody who's disagreed with me along these lines. It's actually rather pleasant. Alright, we gotta fucking go through donos. We haven't even gotten to the J.K. Rowling or the PragerU. Holy shit. Jesus Christ. Hold on, folks. Wolfgar with the gifted tier 1 sub to German anarchist milkers. Yes, that is true. Accepted with the tier 3 sub. Thank you. I genuinely love your videos. Thank you for the content, comrade. Hey, I do it for you specifically. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. That's incredibly kind of you. And Taryn Rich with the tier 1 sub. Thank you. Keep forgetting to make this a recurring sub. Take my money, comrade. Yes. Lose track of it too, so $5 just disappears from your bank account every month. Thank you, comrade. I appreciate it. Excuse me. Comrade Cora with the gifted tier 1 sub. Boobs. Yes, that is also true. What wisdom from my community. And Castrix Defiance the tier 1 sub. Hey Vosh, here's some Soros bucks for the good work you've been doing with Hunter and Shu. Fuck the woke scolds, fuck the tankies, and fuck the Nazis. America, please do the world a solid and vote Bernie 2020. Yes, I can. I hope I can speak to Armored Skeptic sometime soon. That was Comrade Courtney, not me. Oh, gotcha, Comrade Cora. You similar looking names. You know how it is. Such is life. Oh, Lord. Yeah, sir, with $1. You should stream with your hair down so you look like a Viking and have a better chance to convert a Nazi. Not a bad idea. Yeah, Goetic can be. It's a weird one. All right, folks. Hey, you know what? Can we get a fucking hypers in chat for the fact that I have gotten so much better at dealing with frustration while streaming? I've gotten so much better at dealing with frustration while streaming. It used to be, it used to be real easy. It used to be real easy for me to get myself in trouble. Let me tell you. There we go. There we go. Alex DeLuna with the $3. You've helped me be more mindful of being a lefty instead of a lame-o-centrist. You rock, dude. Thank you. I'm delighted to hear that. And Chaos, the $1. How is it the left lead its own for not being pure, but people like Mr. Medicare can say literally whatever they want with nothing but support from their audience? Because Mr. Medicare's audience is a group of nihilistic, edgy dipshits who have no actual values, and of Nazis. And in both cases, Mr. Medicare's political prescriptions, which are all deeply reactionary, are just fine with them. Nicholas Pogson with the $2. Also thinking of doing vids on Marxist history. Please do, because I would love to watch them. Johnny the Based Gamer with the $10. Thank you, man. Hey, Vosh, about to go work in a couple hours. Wish your favorite wage slag some luck. Hey, enjoy your time in the wagey cagey, comrade. We're all going to get out of there soon, okay? We're gonna have a riot soon. Okay? Stay hopeful. Eli Uwu with the $5. Hi, where's your shirt from? What an excellent question. If you type into chat !sneakers, you'll get linked to the BB Sama shop, an anime merch shop that I got this from at Anime Expo. Go for it. David Culleton with the $2. Vosh, can we get your YouTube advice on a shirt? Yeah, actually, that wouldn't be a bad merch idea. YouTube Darwin with the 258 with $1. Have you seen this channel called American Renaissance? They're worse than Red Ice. Please debunk their bullshit sometime. I have seen American Renaissance, but their stuff looks like it would be difficult for my channel to debunk. It's not good for like those 15-minute like live off the cuff things. I'd have to do a little bit of research. They're a little longer, at least if I'm thinking of the right channel. But I can look into them again. Toast of Bont with the $10. Thank you. Maybe I'm being a doomer here, but it feels as though all the elements for a rise of fascism into power is here in America. Again, maybe I'm not seeing the full picture. What convinces you that we will win? You are seeing the rise of fascism in America, and I'm not convinced we're going to win. But moping about it never won anybody any wars, right? You have to proceed forward as aggressively, confidently as possible because that's the best way to ensure success down the line. Connor Touchton with $5. Favorite food you had over the holiday? My brother made ribeye. My brother roasted a steak. It was fucking delicious. It was incredible. Dracoris Felving with the $5. That's my take. I don't know what take you're referring to, comrade, but I'm delighted to have it. Thank you very much. And Neon Nora with the €10. Anti-SJW left is the Marxist left. Old school Marxists would purge this chick in an instant. That's true. That is true. But not really. I don't really care much about the old school Marxists. And I mean, what is the point of socialism if not for human liberation, right? I mean, of course, people 150 years ago are going to be pretty reactionary, but I don't think we should take from that, you know, those lessons. Marx hated Jews, after all. Should I go become a Nospel? Teresius with a tier 2 sub, thank you. Figured I was already donating on Patreon, might as well sub too. Hit that vape hard show, guest. Yes, Izzy is, I think, perhaps legendary for her attachment to the vape pen, and I do respect it a little bit. Wait, did he? Yes, Marx was an anti-Semite, I believe. I'm pretty sure. Wasn't Marx Jewish? Yes, Marx was Jewish. Yes, he was of Jewish descent, and he was an anti-Semite. I think it was a daddy issues thing. Mountain of Madness with the $5. Doesn't Contra have a video with about trans trenders where she has a beard? Yes, apparently she experienced a lot of dysphoria putting that makeup beard on as well. But yes, it was a good video. I don't know if it was the trans trenders one. Yeah, everyone in Europe was anti-Semitic back then, guys. It's not a big deal. Twilight Born with the $5. Thank you very much. And Wolfgar with the $5. Izzy, have you looked into getting a noise gate for your vaping? It works really well for me. I saw a lot of people getting really triggered by the vaping. I'm sorry and I love you. Spefton with the 349. Missed you. Merry Crimsons. Merry Crimsons to you too. Thoughts on consistently generous donators re ethics? Some people splash a lot of cash and that money might be better used for them, e.g. invested, but you never really know. Yeah, I think about that a lot as well. Every time a person donates to me, I really, really hope that they can afford to donate to me. And I want to clarify that, you guys, if you're donating to me, please make sure it's money you're comfortable giving away, okay? And don't do it for my attention or anything. Just do it because you enjoy the content. And I love you for it. I really do. I just don't want to be exploitative. It's very, very possible to exploit parasocial relationships by taking advantage. All right, I'm being told that he was not anti-Semitic. In fact, that he once refrained from publishing a hyperbolically anti-Semitic article. Gotcha. Okay. Well, what are you going to do? Anyway, I encourage everyone to be cautious when donating. Not because I don't appreciate the donations. I obviously do. Just because I don't want anyone to, donate if it's something that doesn't help them along, if it's harmful to them. Dracoris Felving with the $20. Thank you so goddamn much, comrade. That's very generous of you. Sorry, just showering. That's been my point, Vosh. Thank you for expressing it. Oh, yeah, of course, comrade. I don't know what exactly we're referring to with regards to my discussion with Izzy, but I agree with everything that I said, so shouldn't be too hard then, right? Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Matthew Banks with the $2. So much feels? Maybe. And Vontix with the $5. Just ignore the Twitter-only left. They are useful idiots for fascists that make the left look bad. Twitter makes people dumber. It's why Trump loves it. Yes, Twitter is a shit platform, but you know what? That's okay. We're all trying to make it. Why do I feel like I'm so short today? Hold on. There we go. Now I'm taller again. Nicely done. Zanya with the $5. Preaching to the choir doesn't improve anything. You have to be able to communicate with those who you want to change the minds of. Yes, I agree completely, but it seems not many people do. A lot of people just want to make left-leaning content to inform existing leftists, which I don't get the point, but okay. I thought Marx himself said it, The point of the world is not to interpret it, but rather to change it, or the point of philosophy or whatever. Comrade Cora with the $5. Thank you. If you want me to argue with you, you've been having all sorts of wrong takes in this stream, so have me on for that. Other than that, you didn't have Shu on to argue, so you're a clout chaser like me. Sorry about that, comrade. I don't know about any further discussions on the woke scoldy subjects, but I feel pretty comfortable with my with my discourse today. Oh, hey, Ultimate Killstorm, I have your Twitter up in one of the many tabs that I need to resolve. Yes, I would like to speak with you again, though not immediately. Have Cora on? No! I talked for an hour. I didn't want to talk to anyone today. Fuck all of you. We'll definitely talk, Comrade, or Ultimate Killstorm. Comrade Ultimate Killstorm. Thank you. And Orlando Maldonado with the $2. Super pedantic. Maybe. Pessimist with the $5. I don't give a fuck about your audience, except even though it's one of the most popular leftist channels to exist, it couldn't hurt her to turn her woke skull brain off and just accept that she's wrong. Oh, fair enough, Comrade Cora. Yeah, I don't want to shit talk too much post debate, but I do feel there was some selective judgment going on over there, which was maybe a smidge unfortunate. That's all right though. As we grow larger, it will become less relevant with time. Wolfgar with the $5. Your approach is inclusive, but feels exclusive to gatekeeping leftists. Yet many woke scolds feel that they're being inclusive while putting out such an exclusive vibe with their reactions to others. Yes, people need to remember that inclusivity does not merely mean accepting women, trans people, black people. It means accepting people, including people who don't necessarily agree with you. Sure, Comrade Cora. Nope. Nope. Comrade Cora, I have no fucking idea what your Twitter handle is. Why wouldn't you link it? Comrade Cora, link your fucking Twitter handle, you piece of shit. Jesus. Why would you do that to me? It's M.A. Map Respecter? That's the fucking name you went with? Huh? Map Respecter? We need to talk about pedophiles sometime soon, don't we? Because I only recently became aware of how large the fucking map pedophile community is on Twitter. I think it's a joke, guys. Yeah, Comrade Cora got suspended for being mean to pedophiles. So this is now a map respecter account, I see. Staying in the good graces of Twitter, it seems. Thank you, Wolfgar. We're almost done with donuts, by the way. A bacon Pop-Tart with the 15 bucks. Have you seen Bug Praxis on Twitter? Is this the left version of Stone Toss you were talking about? I have seen Bug Praxis, yes. Though they're not the only one. My favorite is Spurgsy, personally. I just quite like the art style of Spurgsy. But I have seen Bug Praxis as well. Thank you for the very generous $15, comrade. I really appreciate it. Jin with the $5. Haven't donated in a while. Fuck bitches, get money, plus ultra. True, except My Hero Academia is a mediocre anime at best. Angry Demetrodon with the $5. What is in that terrarium? A bearded dragon? Yes, actually. We moved her into here. Yep. Whoop. See, we moved her into here over the holidays and haven't moved her back yet. There you go. Look at this fucking idiot. She really is a pet rock, you know. You can just do whatever. Ew! Oh, gross, you pooped. Oh my fucking god. Go. You're fucking disgusting. I'm gonna wash my hands. That's what I get for trying to do animal playtime hour with my stream. Jesus. Fuck these kids. Fucking... God. Oh boy. Holy shit, you guys. You know, we're never going to get to the actual stream content if you keep fucking donating to me while I'm away. Angry Demetrodon with the $5. Oh wait, I just did that one. Yes, it's a bearded dragon. Daniel with a 1317. Thank you. Hey, Vosh Arch Warhammer made an incredibly stupid video. Is Warhammer 40k Imperium of Man fascist? And he wants to debate some lefty about it. I know it's a stupid subject for debate, but maybe you could save a few souls from his viewer base by debating him. Oh, he wants to debate someone about it? Oh my god, I can't imagine debating Arch Warhammer. Do you think he'll do the voice? Do you think he'll do the voice? I think the Imperium of Man is Did I wash hands? Yeah, thoroughly. I touched lizard poop. You're fucking gross, dude. She doesn't care. She's a pet rock. She doesn't do anything. Horseman with the $10. You doing any New Year's resolutions? Oh, New Year's revolutions. Only in terms of improving my stream content, okay? Only in terms of that. Thank you. Veritable Chris with the $10. I will say I donate because I can afford to. Obviously cannot be said for all, but I would assume most can. Keep up the good fight, Vosh. Take my money and use it to spread the good word further. Thank you, comrade. That is really, really kind of you, and I sincerely appreciate it. And I'm going to do my best, okay? Thank you for your kindness and patronage. Imaginary dialectic with the $5. What are forms of praxis a college student can do? For the most part, just participate in your local clubs if they do any humanitarian work. And if you don't have time for that, just be a good student. Just learn shit, you know? Live. Just exist. College is very, very difficult for a lot of folks, okay? It can be very difficult for most people. Just try to get through it. I think your top priority should be yourself. If you are leftist, keeping yourself safe is praxis. Wolfgar with the $5. Speaking of you becoming more patient, I was a hair's breadth away from closing out the first video I saw of yours because of a screaming tirade you were having against chat. You've come a long way. I miss the screaming tirades against chat, personally. We'll get back to those, okay? We'll find reasons. We'll find reasons to have them, but thank you very much. Decorus Felving with the $5 mostly was just utterly disgusted with how the community ostracized ContraPoints over a legitimate frustration. Yeah, even fucking Izzy was like wildly misrepresenting it, like in our discussion too. Like the exact same thing I hear from everyone else. Oh, well, people are upset. Oh, well, there's a pattern of behavior. But then you get to the specifics and it's like, well, no. This is exactly, by the way, how they called Jeremy Corbyn an anti-Semite, you know? How all this Jeremy Corbyn's an anti-Semite, like, fucking explosion of discourse. This is how it works. If you keep throwing shit to the wall, eventually it's going to stick. And then, even if every individual point is bullshit, you can always point back to the pattern. It doesn't matter if there are any actual arguments. People feel this way. People are saying he's anti-Semitic. It's the pattern. People do it against me too. It's a great way if you don't have any real arguments to take down a public figure, you know? Hyena. Oh, Hyena, my girlfriend, big boobies with the tier 1 sub. Don't know why my sub ran out, but here we are. I have a duty to support my boy. I love you. Thank you, my trad wife, GF. Very much appreciated. Veritable Chris with the incredibly generous tier 4 sub. Thank you so much, comrade. Not sure why you lapsed either, Hyena. Enjoy the T4. Was that a gifted tier 4 sub, or was that a tier 4 sub to you? I think you tier 4 subbed yourself, comrade, rather than Hyena. I don't care. I just love seeing the yellow names in chat. Also, Hyena's name is going to be like pinkish red no matter what. But one way or another, Veritable Chris, I love you, and thank you for the generosity. And if that was an accident somehow, and you want me to refund it, just let me know. Just email me your real name, and I'll refund the thing. But if it wasn't, then hey, that's what I like to see. And last but not least, Paul Resendez with the unbelievably generous $100 donation. Thank you so goddamn much. That is unbelievably kind of you. You have been ridiculously generous, comrade. I am actually disgusted by your kindness. You fucking porky. Thank you, Soros. Hey, Vosh, I'm 23 and I'm considering running for Congress in the 1st District of Rhode Island next election. Is it useful to go full soap dem or liberalism, a Bernie versus Warren style? In the District of Rhode Island goes blue, right? I think you should look at your constituency, actually. In fact, what you should do is research on the precedent of the constituency for the district that you would be running in. I want you to look at how they tend to vote and how amicable they've been to previous elected representatives, whether that be president, mayor, congressperson, senator. And I think you should base your stuff off that. Now, my knowledge is that Rhode Island's pretty blue, and that you could probably get away with going full soak dem Bernie style there. But I think you should give that a look. Engage in that market research, you know. And holy shit, my dude, Sean Locke with the $100. What the fuck is wrong with you guys? I was only able to catch a small part of your debate, but it seems like you managed to keep your cool. Was it just me, or did it sound like she was getting incredibly angry over the fact that you were defending yourself when what you saw was unjust criticism? Yeah, this is my... Just to clarify, words? Izzy Bear is she, her. But, yeah, this is... A lot of people do get that. They get, like, angry or frustrated when you defend yourselves against criticism, and they interpret they interpret you not just acquiescing to their criticism as an indication that you're not listening to them. It's really fucking annoying. I get that a lot. People will say like, "Oh, you're not listening." I'm like, "I'm listening. I'm directly engaging with the arguments. I just have different arguments." But yeah, holy shit, my dude, Sean Locke, that is so fucking kind of you. I can't believe how generous people are being. I mean, I suppose I haven't streamed in a little while, so folks are going to come at me real fucking hot. But Jesus Christ, that is so goddamn kind. All right, let me double check to make sure that everything is taken account of, I suppose. Here we go. Oh, Googly Gook with the $5. Bakunin was anti-Semitic. Marx hated the homeless, criminals, and prostitutes, citing them as lumpenproletariat. Ooh, that's fucking problematic. That's hashtag problematic right there. Jeez. Oh boy. Marx? Very canceled. I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, Marx was anti-slut. Can you believe it? God damn. David Collison with the $2. That hair letdown just turned me gay. Hot damn. You're welcome. And Anti with the $5. Michael Brooks and Richard Wolff watch an interview of Cornel West on cancel culture. I'm not sure what the syntax of this donation is implying, but I'll Google those names and see if I can find anything interesting. Kermie with the 40 yen. Vosh, please go vegan? No. And I might go vegetarian, though. Meat disgusts me more and more every time I eat it. And Orlando Maldonado with the $2. Super pedantic and woke scoldy. This is why we lose. Hey, we're coming out big, folks. We're getting big. You hear that? We're getting big. James Hill with a $3.99. Make Vosh dirtbag again? Yeah, what happened to me? Jesus. I've slumped. And Benjamin Hulme with the €5. Vosh is lying. Contra didn't mention non-passing trans people. Quote, it's good for people who want gender-neutral language, but not for semi-passable transes. That's true. When I looked over it again, I didn't see Contra in that tweet chain mentioning non-passing trans people. But I don't think I definitively claimed that. I only said I would want to see the tweet chain. Whether or not that is the case, though, I don't think that, like, destroys the ulterior argument. So she failed to mention the experiences other people might have while describing her own experience and acknowledging it was selective specifically to her. I don't think that's entirely destructive of her perspective, you know? Twilight Born with the $5. Thank you very, very much, comrade. And I think we did it, guys. Guys, we did it! Guys, we did it! We did it! We can talk about something else now! We did it! Let's fucking... Are you guys ready? J.K. Rowling. Whew. I know I'm a little late to the party on this one. Okay? I know I'm a little late. I'm going to open up with a bit of a disclaimer. I don't like Harry Potter. I just don't. I don't like young adult fiction. I don't like the protagonist being dropped into a mysterious world with fantastical rules where they can be an audience insert so you can finally imagine a world in which you're liked by other people and have a special purpose that goes beyond your mere subsistence existence, whether that be your Harry Potters or your Katniss Everdeen's or whatever. I'm just not a big fan of Harry Potter. But that's okay, because whether or not you're a fan of Harry Potter, I think we can all agree that the opinions on Harry Potter's creator are perhaps a little bit less contentious. So, J.K. Rowling has said some pretty dumb shit over the past few years on Twitter. No one was a big fan of the actually Dumbledore is gay thing, I don't believe. Nobody liked that, you know. I think at one point she said that wizards used to piss and shit themselves and they would just magically wish away the piss and shit. That's a good one right there. But people got real fucking mad about this in particular. Okay, let's go over it. What could be wrong with this? Dress how you... Whoa, 200,000. This is like a fucking Trump tweet. Dress how you please. Cool. Call yourself whatever you like. Cool. Sleep with any consenting adult who will have you. I'm in favor of everything that is being said. Live your best life in peace and security. Yes! But force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real? I stand with Maya. This is not a drill. So people got really mad over that. And why? Seriously, why? But force women out of their jobs for stating sex is not real? Well, I mean, should you be forcing people out of their jobs for stating that sex is real? I mean, sex is real. I haven't been fired. Maybe that's because I'm in America. Oh, well, I am self-employed. I also used to work at a security job. I think I mentioned at some point that sex was real back then, too. And I worked at a restaurant, and I worked at a frozen yogurt place, and... Well, actually, I don't think I was ever actually persecuted for saying that sex is real. So, this must not be a universal thing. Maybe in the States, it's okay. What does she mean by that exactly? But force women out of their jobs for saying that sex is real. That's a really weird thing to say. Well, I will now part the curtain, my friend, because the actual controversy here has nothing whatsoever to do with sex being real. Let's dive in deep and learn why people are calling J.K. Rowling a transphobe, which...
Now substitute Israel for Italy, and you'll understand the dishonesty and absurdity of the argument that one could be.
Is something happening right now that I'm not aware of?
Of a Jewish state, but not anti-Semitic.
Wow, that's been playing for 40 seconds. Holy shit, how did that play? What the fuck? Dennis Prager, it's not your turn yet. I was so confused by what was happening in chat. Wait, how did that even start playing? I didn't even open that tab. That is so weird. Okay, wait, guys, wait, that's so fucking weird, but I'm trying to make a YouTube video over here. Wait, hold on. What was the last thing I said before Dennis Prager invaded? Before Dennis the Menace came kicking down our sandcastle? I said she? Oh, excellent, gotcha. You were trying to figure out what she meant by sex existing? How long ago? All right, shut up. Shut the fuck up. We're resuming. We're going to get some silence. All right. Yeah, now where I part the curtain. Couldn't you argue Fooly Cooley was young adult? DJ Zerida, if I didn't like you, I'd be banning you for that. So anyway, okay. I've worked a lot of jobs in my time. I've never actually been fired for saying sex is real. It didn't come up in conversation that often, mind you. Nobody ever like came up to me and asked, "Hey, is sex real? Is that true? Is sex real? Is it true? Or what are we referring to here? Are we referring to biological sex or the active sex? What are we going?" Well, it never really happened to me, which made me think, hey, maybe. See, this is me. All individual detective work here. See, nobody else. I read no other Twitter threads for clarification or context. Maybe J.K. Rowling isn't actually talking about somebody being forced out of their job for saying sex is real. Maybe J.K. Rowling is dog whistling. Maybe J.K. Rowling, and we're going to get into this, is a fucking TERF or a transphobe, however you want to go about it. See, what we're looking at right here is J.K. Rowling expressing solidarity to somebody who was brutally kicked out of their job for what? For acknowledging that sex exists? Well, no. Let's actually go into what happened, and I think part with the sort of obnoxious caterwailing. So, Maya Forstater was a person who worked as a consultant for the Center of Global Development, right? Easy enough, okay? So that's kind of like a humanitarian operation gig, you know? Center for Global Development. That's that's not nothing. It's something. And during the time that she worked there, she was kind of a little bit opinionated on her private Twitter account. we can go into some of the opinions that she shared in her private Twitter account, okay? So let's go over these real quick. I've got them here in front of me. Look at that. Super convenient. Super convenient. All right? Watch this. So when using her personal Twitter account to tweet about her opposition to potential changes to the UK's Gender Recognition Act, she wrote, "I share the concerns of @FairPlayWomen that radically expanding the legal definition of women so it can include both males and females makes it a meaningless concept and will undermine women's rights and protections for vulnerable women and girls." She then added, "Some transgender people have cosmetic surgery, but most retain their birth genitals. Everyone's equality and safety should be protected, but women and girls lose out on privacy, safety, and fairness if males are allowed into changing rooms, dormitories, prisons, and sports teams." She would frequently and unmistakably refer to trans women as males, when the law to which she was referring, the Gender Recognition Act, explicitly recognized trans women as female, not male. So, in a long series of tweets, she repeatedly misgendered. Credit Suze Senior Director Pips Bunce, so like another public figure, who identifies as gender fluid, and she referred to them as a man who likes to express himself part of the week by wearing a dress, a part-time cross-dresser, and a white man who likes to dress in women's clothes. As part of that discussion, she also tweeted, "I think male people are not women." And that person refers to themselves as she, her. Now, all of this was done by the Maya woman, okay? Now, this is a woman who works at basically a humanitarian sort of firm. You know, they're trying to help folks. And time came around in a couple months ago that her contract was coming up on expiring, her work stay there, you see. And the firm decided not to renew it. Maybe because one of their employees at a humanitarian firm was going on deranged Twitter rants about how trans women are men and you're a deranged crossdresser and we need to protect the women's spaces from the birth genitals of the transgender woman. They didn't renew the hiring contract at all, which is their right. I mean, of course it is. It's not they're firing her. They're just not bringing her on for another employment session. So this bitch, Maya, freaked out and took this complaint, took her belief that she was being persecuted for her beliefs over to the Britbonger like labor dispute board. You know, you go there. It's like we've got like a labor board here in America. If you're fired wrongfully, you can like, you know, talk to them. Over there, they got it too. And she said, "Hey, it's my fucking freedom of speech. It's my gosh darn freedom of speech to be able to call trans women men. This is my philosophical belief. My gender critical views are a reflection of my philosophy, and I'm expressing free speech when I engage in them." To which the court said, essentially, and I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but any philosophical views which pretend to you using language which is unquestionably discriminatory and hateful against a marginalized group may be, while stemming from philosophy, nonetheless hateful. And therefore, the firm was completely in the right to terminate your contract. Mind you, they would have been in the right to terminate her contract even if she had said nothing. This is the most nothing whiny snowflake case in fucking history, folks. This is literally, they chose not to rehire her, and she assumed it was because they were biased against her. So she took it to court, which is something that she not only had like no basis or no grounds upon assuming, she was taking them to the labor board over a dispute for behavior which would have entitled them to firing her in all likelihood because of its overtly discriminatory content. She was wrong on 2 counts there. But it's in the vein of the TERF or the transphobe to self-victimize like crazy, because she spent months talking about how she was the victim of persecution, how women and girls everywhere are being subjected to the whims of the radical, anti-woman, patriarchal men dressing up in dresses, what have you. This woman went crazy. So, mind you, this isn't some like tightly contested court case where a public figure is narrowly overturned in a narrow dispute over the terminology she used in regards to public advocacy. This was a deranged woman whose term was not renewed with a firm rightfully, who then, after months playing the pity party, saying she was being discriminated against with no legal grounds, took them to the Labor Dispute Board and got smacked the fuck down. And that is what J.K. Rowling is referring to here. This is not J.K. Rowling expressing solidarity with a tightly heated, contentious, discussion on a particular issue. This is J.K. Rowling expressing solidarity with a bigot. She got not renewed for being a bigot. They had every right in doing so, and her entire public advocacy has since been about bigotry. And that's what J.K. Rowling here is doing too. And this you can tell because J.K. Rowling is cloaking her bigotry in the same euphemistic dog whistling language that you would expect from somebody who knows they're being a bigot. Look, but force women out of their jobs for stating sex is real? Well, hold on. Nobody was forced out of their job. Her contract wasn't renewed. And even then, that contract not being renewed was upheld by the labor board. And for stating sex is real? That isn't really what she was doing, actually. You can go over it here. She was, I believe it is impossible to change sex or lose your sex. Girls grow up to be women, boys grow up to be men. No change of clothes or hairstyle, plastic surgery, accident or illness, no hormones, no force of will or social conditions. No declaration can turn a female person into a male or a male person into a female. She made her co-workers uncomfortable. She had a non-profit organization that was being placed in an untenable position because donors were no longer interested in giving them money because one of their representatives was going on unhinged transphobic rants on Twitter. Anybody could have been fired for this. Anybody could have been fired for this. And then, of course, you have the ruling for the courts. It's actually quite interesting how little nuance there is to it when you actually look into the details. She could have been fired. She wasn't fired, but she could have been fired. Her behavior was overtly, unquestionably discriminatory and prejudiced. So again, we get back to J.K. Rowling here, because I don't give a fuck about Maya over here, all right? J.K. Rowling is a TERF. TERF stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist. What TERFs are, essentially, are fake feminists. They tend to be born of the second wave. There are a ton of TERFs in England for some fucking reason. And what they tend to be are feminists who believe in the dynamic between men and women are a product of biological prescriptivism. The reason women are persecuted in society is because of their biological inferiority. They're weak. They are susceptible to the whims of the penis. The penis is dangerous and weaponized against them, and that they need to be protected against those who have said penises or benefit from the socialization that men typically experience, which would be trans women. Some trans women have penises, not all of them, of course, but a lot of them do. So that's what a TERF is. And a lot of you may think that it's not a big deal that J.K. Rowling's a TERF. I imagine it's pretty disappointing that one of the most famous novel series ever written, a novel series which has no doubt been enjoyed by literally millions of transgender people, was written by a bigot who will lie, because this is a lie right here. This right here, for stating sex is real. No, her contract was not renewed because of her unprofessional and discriminatory behavior. That's not what this is. That J.K. Rowling would lie to defend an overt transphobe and essentially send the message to millions that this whimsical writer of fancy and Britbonger sensibilities is willing to lie and to go up to bat for somebody whose case is so unbelievably one-sided. And that's what we got from J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling's a transphobe. And they're cowards too, because they always phrase their criticisms euphemistically like this. If she was being honest, she would have said, live out your best life in peace of security, but don't renew renew contracts for people who place their business in awkward positions by being discriminatory and unprofessional, or something like that, which nobody would have taken seriously. But that's probably the most fair and unbiased reading that you could have gotten from the situation. So, yeah, that's what you get from J.K. Rowling. Honestly, fuck J.K. Rowling. Fuck, I don't like Harry Potter either. Fuck J.K. Rowling and fuck Harry Potter. Fuck J.K. Rowling for making Harry Potter and condemning the creativity and intelligence of literally millions of people to a shallow fantasy world that is poorly written and the characters have no depth. And also fuck all of you. And it's unoriginal and fuck you. Hagrid's a Nazi? I don't know if I support that interpretation. I like the movies, though. Just because things are trash doesn't mean they can't be fun. Alright, we've put it off long enough, folks. Can I, like, open the window? Why is it so fucking warm in here? What is it outside? Hello? Okay, I'm comfortable having that shit on because I know that fucking Dennis Prager's voice is going to overwhelm any background noise we're going to get. All right, folks. It's... Oh boy, is it fucking time. Oh my god, it's so fucking time. Dennis Prager. If you hate Israel, you're no friend of the Jews. Ah, yes. I love defending persecuted minorities by associating their existence with a nationality and then saying that you're a bad Jew if you don't support that ethno-state. Let's do it.
Imagine a group of people who work to destroy Italy because they claim Italy's origins are illegitimate. Imagine further that these people maintain that of all the countries in...
Wait, first off, I just want to say, destroying Italy because its origins are illegitimate, fucking based, okay? Can we open with that? Are we all clear? Are we all pro-destruction of Italy? Okay, good.
In the world, only Italy doesn't deserve to exist. And then imagine that these people vigorously deny that they are anti-Italian. Would you believe them?
Do we have a false comparison that we're opening up our discussion with? A false comparison? Dishonest advocacy in PragerU? Well, what's this video about?
Now substitute Israel for Italy, and you'll understand the dishonesty and absurdity of the argument that one could be anti-Zionist, that is, against the existence of a Jewish state, but not anti-Semitic.
Hey, bibbidi bobbidi, I just bombed a Palestinian in a hospital, eh? Hey, matzah! Hey, I'm an anarchist, okay? I'm anti-state, like, all the way around. So, I mean, I'm, like, good no matter what, right? Don't mind me just closing the window. Like, I'm good no matter what, right? Because I'm anti all states. I have my plausible deniability, you know? Let's see. Oh, also, we should be really fucking clear. I don't want to be irresponsible with this. Why is this comparison stupid? A, because usually the people who want to destroy the Israeli state, by destroy they mean remove the Israeli people from that area, are doing so because Israel is an ethno-state that is currently engaging in a war of elimination with the Palestinian people. That Israel has only been there for about like 70 years now, and for that reason, because of its relatively small size and the fact that it's currently operating open-air concentration camps for the Palestinian people, that it is more capable of being removed than others are. Italy is not currently, to my knowledge, engaged in a genocidal war of oppression with a group of indigenous people in their borders. I assume, let me know if I'm wrong, B is significantly larger, and C has been around for a bajillion fucking years. Also, D, it's not an ethno-state. That's another one. If I, a non-Italian, go into Italy, I can enjoy the same rights and privileges as an Italian citizen if I gain citizenship. And my ethnicity is not a component to my citizenship. So that's just a smidge of a difference there, you know, some reasons why Italy would not only be easier to, or not Italy, sorry, Israel would not only be easier to remove, but also why there are more reasons to remove Israel than there would be other nations.
But that is precisely
Prager!
what anti-Zionists say. They argue that Israel's existence is illegitimate
Mm-hmm.
They don't believe this of any other country in the world, no matter how bloody.
Wait, yes we do. Again, maybe I'm the wrong person to go about here because a lot of anti-Zionists that I am aware of are anti-state. So if we're anti-state, we're against the existence of all of these states. Just not all of them are engaged in genocidal wars of oppression and apartheid.
Its origins. And then they get offended when they're accused of being anti.
Why does he have the Joker smile? Are you guys seeing this? Am I hallucinating right now? Have I seen too many fucking meme images? His smile lines are the Joker. Do you want to know how I got these scars? The intolerant left opened my mouth and stuck a blade in, and they...
Anti-Semitic. How can they make this argument? First, they change the topic. They say it's unfair to charge those who merely criticize Israel with being anti-Semitic.
I think most fair and reasonable people would agree with that sentiment. Criticizing Israel is probably not anti-Semitic, but you'll notice that they already snuck a conclusion in there. That's a little interesting, because the premise here is that wanting to destroy the state of Israel, specifically, makes you an anti-Semite. Whereas I would argue it makes you anti-Israel. There are Jews outside of Israel, after all, and most of the people who want to see Israel gone aren't themselves anti-Semitic, at least not in the communities that I run in. So the idea then is that if you could prove sufficiently, if you could prove to a sufficient degree that people are hypocritical in their dislike of Israel, that the only explanation for that hypocrisy or for that bias must be because of anti-Semitism, while leaving out the other examples earlier provided, apartheid, genocide, recently formed, massive geopolitical destabilization in the region, fascist. By ignoring all of those other conceivable explanations, the only one which you arrive at then is the anti-Semitism, which is of course the goal, because this video is exactly what the right will frequently accuse the left of being. It's essentially race baiting, though Judaism is not itself a race, it's the same basic premise. You, as a marginalized identity, make an argument about your perceived persecution rather than addressing the actual arguments.
But criticism of Israel is fine. Denying Israel's right to exist isn't. Anti-Zionism.
What is a state's right to exist? That's a question for the chat. What does a state's right to exist mean? It just kind of means like the people in there have like a border and their own laws, right? But there's a lot of really weird right to exist arguments when it comes to Israel exactly. See, I don't give a fuck about states. What's a state's right? I care about people's rights to exist. What is a state's right? A lot of people's arguments for the existence of Israel are very, very strange. Some 4,000-year-old ethnic precedent stuff that strikes a little bit weirdly close to ethno-nationalism to my taste.
Isn't criticism of Israel.
Oh.
Anti-Zionism is opposition to Israel's existence.
Sure, sometimes. I mean, it can be both. Anti-Zionism can be criticism of Israel. There are anti-Zionists who are in favor of a two-state solution. And anti-Zionists can be criticism of Israel's right to exist. Again, I don't think any state has a right to exist.
Zionism is the name of the movement that advocates for the return of Jews to their historic homeland.
Yeah, see, that's the weird one right there. See, I don't care about that. Return to your historic homeland. What, because you occupied a piece of land thousands of years ago, that's where you get to go again? There were already people there, called the Palestinians. How would you feel if some moon race of Native Americans came down 3,000 years from now and set up a settlement in the middle of like Washington, D.C., because they have an ancestral right to exist there? Now, I think that would be fucking radical, personally. But, maybe that's because they're from the moon.
Over the past 3,000 years, there were only two independent states located in what is called Israel. Both were Jewish states, and invaders destroyed both. No Arab or Muslim or any other country ever existed in that land, which was...
Wait, I'm just going to Google Palestine 1930s. Whoa, that's really weird. Wait, is Dennis Prager lying to me? Am I being lied to right now? Wait, who lived here? Was it just empty? Who are these Wikipedia. Palestinian Arabs are an ethno-national group comprising the modern descendants of the people who lived in Palestine continually over the centuries and who today are culturally and linguistically Arab in large part. That's interesting. What's Palestine? Palestine is a geographic region in Western Asia usually considered to include Israel, the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and in some definitions, parts of Western Jordan. Interesting. So for centuries, Arab people lived in what is now called Israel. Okay, that seems like a strange hole in Dennis Prager's argument, but he could have misspoke there, you know.
Only named Palestine by the Romans to remove all memory of the Jewish state they destroyed in the year 70.
Of what relevance is that, even if it is true? Well, the Arabs didn't really live there for millennia and centuries because actually it was named that by the Romans? What?
Second, anti-Zionists claim they can't be anti-Jewish because Zionism has nothing to do with Judaism. That's equally false. It is the same as saying Italy has nothing to do with being Italian. Judaism...
I don't think any Zionists or anti-Zionists are claiming that Zionism has nothing to do with Judaism, only that they're not intrinsic to one another. There are non-Zionist Jews and there are non-Jewish Zionists. Nobody says they have nothing to do with one another. That's a ridiculous claim.
Judaism has always consisted of three components.
Do you like that? Wait, really quickly. I want you to really quickly imagine that this video is being made by an ethno-nationalist who is desperate to ascribe intentions and history to Judaism that are not necessarily there. I'm going to pick these apart. If there are any inconsistencies, then this isn't an always.
Always.
He's really insistent on that Zionist shit.
Consisted of three components. God.
Except there are non-religious Jews. Everyone would agree with this. Everyone, from anti-Zionist to Zionist, Nazi to liberal, everyone agrees there are people who are culturally Jewish who are not religiously Jewish, who are agnostic or atheist. So we're already incorrect on this one. To be fair, it says Judaism, but these people would unquestionably count those amongst the rank of the Judea, would they not?
Torah.
Same point to the first one, I suppose.
And Israel.
Well, Israel hasn't existed for the entirety of the length of time that Jews have existed, and Jews, or at least a small portion of Jews wanting to go back to Israel, is not an argument that Israel is a necessary prerequisite of Judaism as a concept.
If Israel isn't part of Judaism, neither is the Bible or God.
What the fuck kind of logic is that? What? Christianity always has had three things going for it. God, the Bible, and the Pope. If you don't like the Pope, rips paper, then God dies too. What?
Third, anti-Zionists claim that Judaism is only a religion, therefore Jews are only members of a religion, not a nation.
Okay, well, here's where we get some weird stuff right here. Judaism can be a culture or a religion or an ethnic group, depending on how exactly you're referring to it. But it's true, Judaism is not a nationality. If so, what have Jews been doing for the past fucking 2,000 years? What nationality were they tied to then? To a nation that doesn't exist and won't exist for hundreds or thousands of years? You can't equivocate ethnicity with nationality, nor religion with nationality. This is exactly what Trump did with his recent bill, which is very fucking spooky, where he's trying to redefine Judaism to refer to a nationality. I don't know if you know this, Trump recently passed a bill, executive order if I recall correctly, though I could be wrong on that, recently passed a bill to to make it such that Judaism is considered a nationality as well, so the Department of Education can withhold funding from protest groups that are criticizing Israel on campus. So Trump made an executive order to withhold free speech, to silence protesters by threatening the defunding of educational institutions by making it so Judaism is a nationality, which reminds me an awful lot of the laws that Germany passed prior to the Holocaust, which also assigned specific ethnic and national status to Jews. Interesting. It's almost as though distinguishing a group further from the hegemony makes it more and more easy for them to be targeted. But that's okay, because don't worry, folks, Zionists don't actually give a shit about Jews, and we're going to get to that soon.
But the Jews are called a nation more than 100 times in the Bible.
And? I'm sorry, is that where we get our fucking political science from?
That is why there can be irreligious, secular, and even atheist Jews.
Yeah?
Because Jews are not only a religion.
Wait, I thought Judaism was always... Wait, so there are Jews who are not part of Judaism? I thought that the God and the Torah was a necessary part of it. So wait, if Jews are not only a religion, which implies that God and the Torah are not necessarily a part of their lives, why would Israel need to be a part of their lives too?
They're also a people or a nation. There are no atheist Christians because Christianity is only a religion.
Interesting. But hey, do you think if we lived in a different type of world where there were fewer Christians and those Christians had a historically persecuted status, that there might be some likelihood that us white folk might be considered culturally Christian or ethnically Christian? Because cultural Christianity is a thing. I'm atheist, and yet I have a Christmas tree in my house. That's cultural Christianity right there. That's what it is. We don't call it that because we just accept it's part of Americana. That's cultural Christianity right there. There are probably tons of shit a lot of you guys do, despite being atheist or agnostic, that are part of that cultural Christianity. Do you celebrate Easter? Do you have Easter Bunny shit going on? I'm sorry, do you think that because it's been commercialized to hell and back, that means it's not a byproduct of Christian cultural dissemination? No! Of course not. So Christianity can be a culture too, but Dennis Prager over here just fucking said that it is not necessary for one to believe in God or the Torah to be a Jew. So why then does he say that the third component, Israel, is something which is necessarily Jewish? He sets up a dichotomy that he later contradicts because because one part of that dichotomy supported his argument in one part of the video, and the second part of the dichotomy supported his argument in a different part of the video.
Fourth, the anti-Zionists claim that Israel is illegitimate because it is racist.
I don't think anyone has ever claimed that Israel is illegitimate because it is racist. Only that its racism makes it a worse state.
This is the fraudulent charge Israel haters and America haters make.
Israel haters and America haters. God, do you love being fucked by neocons? Do you love having your tight fucking boy pussy just pounded open by the ridiculous level of ethno-nationalism that the neocons are trying to assemble with their Israel-America unity? Well, when people say Israel is racist in spite of their open-air concentration camps, open citizenship bias against Arabs, the fact that they openly and fastidiously discriminate against the Palestinians, when they say it's racist, they're not only anti-Israel, but anti-America? Aren't we tired of this? Aren't we fucking done with this? Is this the 1950s? Should this be going, is this fucking black and white on a TV screen between like fucking, the CBS and like a old Coke Santa ad where like the Santa delivers like a Coke to like the neighborhood girl and the friendly, colored boy next door who occasionally paints the fence or something? Like, this is a degree of fucking vintage ass, fake nationalism that actually boils my blood. Dennis Prager doesn't give a fuck about America at all. Dennis Prager's sole political prescription is making sure that the corporations that have been raping America dry for centuries now get as much money and public support as humanly possible. Dennis Prager doesn't give a fuck about America. Dennis Prager doesn't give a fuck about the American people, and he certainly doesn't give a shit about Jews. The only thing he gives a shit about is power and the money that affords it. That's it. So for Dennis Prager to sit here and claim that someone is anti-American for claiming Israel is racist, I am unquestionably more pro-American than Dennis Prager is. And I fucking hate America. But at least I don't hurt it like he does.
Against two of the least racist societies in the world.
Damn.
Half of Israel's Jews are not even white.
What? That's not relevant to this. There are non-white, Jews.
And anyone of any race or ethnicity can become a Jew. Plus one.
I wonder if there are any cultural or legal barriers to prevent... interesting. So 1, we're not talking about skin color, we're talking about ethnicity. 2, are you suggesting that you have to be a Jew to be treated well in Israel? Anyone of any race or ethnicity can become a Jew? Well, geez, that's like saying that a state isn't classist. You get treated like a second-class citizen unless you make at least $60,000 a year, and anyone can make at least $60,000 a year, so obviously it's not classist.
1 of 5 Israelis isn't a Jew.
And so, guys, America in the 1820s is racist? Do you know how many blacks there are in America? Yeah, 72% of all Palestinians in Israel have no voting rights. The people who were originally there, the, actual indigenous group in that community. Notice how hard he has to pivot there. Well, anyone can be a Jew, and some of the Jews are non-white, and some of the people there are even non-Jew. Wow. So all people are treated equally, whether or not they're a Jew? America hater.
And these Israeli citizens, mostly Arab Muslims, have the same rights as Jewish Israelis.
Interesting. 72% of Palestinians in Israel have no voting rights. I wonder, is Dennis Prager lying? Is Dennis... Is Dennis Prager lying to us here? Damn, let's see how long it takes us to find some contradictory information right here. Do we have any direct stats on this that we can cite? How do we go with Israel voting? This looks like it's for the right to return, rather than citizenship law in general. Arab citizens of Israel. What about the non-citizens? Yeah, Chad, can you stop giving fucking... Oh yeah, Arab rights in Israel? Here, this is human rights in Israel. Report ranking, Israeli occupied territories, not free in the freedom rating. Interesting. So we've got that right off the bat. Wikipedia Andy, damn right. This is actually a fucking huge Wikipedia article. Araxiel, that has a website blocker on it. Here we go. How Israel marginalizes its Arab citizens. Disaffection prompted the lowest voter turnout in years amongst Arab Israelis. So this is already for Arab citizens right here. Racism in Israel. Damn, a Wikipedia article too. Racism in Israel refers to racism directed against Israeli Arabs by Israeli Jews, intra-Jewish racism between various ethnic divisions. Yeah, there are also Jewish groups in Israel that are discriminated against pretty heavily. Light-skinned Jews in Israel are treated quite a bit better. Racism against Arabs on the part of the Israeli state and some Israeli Jews has been identified by critics in personal attitudes, media, education, immigration rights, housing segregation, and social life. Nearly all characterizations have been denied by the state of Israel. The commission, set up to explain the October 2000 unrest in many Israeli Arab communities, found the state and generations of its government failed in a lack of comprehensive and deep handling of the serious problems created by the existence of a large Arab minority inside the Jewish state. Government handling of the Arab sector has been primarily neglectful and discriminatory. The establishment did not show sufficient sensitivity to the needs of the Arab population and did not take enough action in order to allocate state resources in an equal manner. The state did not do enough or try hard enough to create equality for its Arab citizens or to uproot discriminatory or unjust phenomenon. Fascinating. Interesting. Some critics have described the law of return, which allows all Jews and persons of some Jewish descent to immigrate to Israel as racist, as Palestinian refugees are not eligible for citizenship, which is funny considering they're the people who were actually just kicked out of Israel in their lifetime or one generation removed, whereas the law of return for Jews refers to an ancestral birthright which must have taken place thousands of years ago. Religious racism, a boatload of incidents sees sports. Who gives a fuck about sports? Ethiopian Jews. Nearly all of the Ethiopian Beta Israel community, a community of black Jews, resides in Israel. Racism has commonly been cited as an explanation for policies and programs that failed to meet expectations. Racism was alleged regarding delays in admitting Ethiopian Jews to Israel under law of return. Religious motivations, racism. When Ethiopians protested that blood donations from their community were thrown out. Ha ha! Holy shit, okay. Do you believe in birthrights? No, of course not. Damn, that's a lot of shit Israel's up to. How Israel marginalizes its Arab citizens. This, what do I do? Read? What do I read? Books? What do you want from me? Hey, listen. It does not take a particularly keen mind to determine that there is in fact racism inside Israel. Forced sterilizations, voter marginalization, lower marginalized turnout, discrimination against dark-skinned Jews, discrimination against Palestinians. Boy, oh boy, the list goes on. All right. So, Dennis Prager, playing cover for racism. Not the first time he's done this. Not a tremendous surprise to anyone here.
As for Israel's control of the West Bank, that has nothing to do with race. Israel doesn't control the West Bank because Palestinians are of another race. But because Palestinians and their Arab allies tried to destroy Israel in 1967, and they lost the war. Palestinians have rejected all—
Oh, wait. Then why not just open up the camps and let Palestinians wander Israel freely?
offers to found their own state on 5 separate occasions since 1947. That's the only reason they don't have a state. And why have they all—
This is an enormous lie, by the way. Israel initiated the 1967 war, and they were later forced to give up territories because they imperialistically conquered everything around them with American support. Look at these fucking snowflakes, dude. Look at these weaselly little liars right here. Still lying with America's help, with Daddy America backing them up. They fucking jumped out and they initiated a conflict. They killed a tremendous number of people, and they were later forced to give back the land they stole with their imperialistic war of aggression. Still lying, dude. If there is no issue, then if Israel won the war and conquered those territories, why are all of the Palestinian people still being kept in open-air concentration camps? Pardon my ignorance, I've never run a country before, but typically, if you conquer a territory, do you not incorporate its citizenry into your nation, or at least into your empire? If that's the case, why keep them as second-class citizens inside walled borders and constantly shell their cities and people with military armaments? That's a strange thing to do, right? Like, can you imagine the Romans? If we're going to ascribe this specifically to just like imperialistic conquest and nothing else, we're going to ignore the wheeling and dealing. We're going to ignore the genocide. The fact that Israel, with the aid of other Western countries, forced out hundreds of thousands or even millions of Palestinians from their home, forcing them on a death march to exit their previously occupied territory. If we're going to ignore all of that, okay? If we're going to ignore the fact that the Israeli authorities rejected offers for two-state solutions, which, by the way, the fucking, what are they called again? Assad? What's the term again? Come on, the Hamas, thank you, not Assad. They sound similar, kind of. We're going to ignore the fact that Hamas, this terrorist group, is in favor of a two-state solution that Israel repeatedly rejects. Even if we're going by that logic, think about it. If we're talking about conquered territories, we're talking about like, imagine the Roman Empire expanding. You conquer an area, you conquer, a territory, right? And then that city is told, like, hey, new big boys in town, get used to it. You're paying your taxes to us now. And yeah, don't cause too much trouble, Maybe rough them up a little bit now and again. Got to keep them, on their toes. Make sure you don't have any freedom fighters in their midst. But for the most part, you incorporate them. What you don't do, typically, is deny them their own statehood, but then also keep them in walled-off concentration camps, shell them and treat them as second-class citizens, ensuring that they are a perpetual underclass, incapable of even providing anything useful to your country because you're constantly destroying shipments, preventing international aid, and largely preventing the area from developing. So you deny them a state, but you also deny them entrance into your state functionally, leaving them to rot into perpetuity with their aforementioned concentration camps. That's why would you do that if not for race? Like, why would you do that if not for race? Like, what other motivation would you have? Like, it's pretty obvious if Israel could, Israel would just genocide the Palestinian people. Like, if the UN turned away for a second, can we get some truers in chat? Throw your fucking hypers up. How badly do you think Israel wants to just genocide the Palestinian people? If we could all blink for a second and all those camps were empty all of a sudden, we just turn around, they're like, oh, guess they all left. Like, fucking yeah. They would do it in a fucking instant because they're not granting them statehood and they're not letting them have their own territory, but they're not incorporated them. Yeah, Ben Shapiro and other Zionists have literally advocated for the destruction or the complete removal of the Palestinians. Pure Zionists like Dennis Prager over here are open about their desire for genocide. But if it's not about race, why genocide them? Just make them citizens or let them work in your state. Israeli citizens advocating genocide? Oh, Empire Files.
In this situation.
I've seen this video. This bitch goes around and asks people, and like Israeli citizens are just on board with the complete genocide of the Palestinian people. Israel is a deeply fucked up country.
First of all, it's very hard.
Marry Arabs. Why do you feel strongly about that?
Because Jews is a special nation that God gave it to the Jews, and we don't want Jews to get mixed up with it, together with a different nation.
I think...
Normal country, 14-year-old fucking chubby lad talking about how he doesn't want his God's chosen people getting mixed up with other nations. That you can go watch that video. It's like a ton of people. She's just asking them. She's not even leading their questions, too. She's like, yeah, so, how do you feel about the Palestinians? And they're like, oh, yeah, I wish we could genocide them. But that's okay. Normal nation.
Always rejected building a Palestinian state?
Hamas literally supports a two-state solution. Oh, it's Hamas with one M. Fuck you guys. Yeah, look. Right here. As of 2017, Hamas accepts the Palestinian state with 1967 borders, without recognizing the state of Israel, which I think is perfectly fine considering the fact that Hamas represents a group of people which were literally ethnically displaced by an invading force less than a century ago. Yeah, Hamas wants a Palestinian state with the borders that were originally supported by Israel. I imagine that between now and 1967, the Palestinian people have probably had their expectations lowered substantially when it comes to a peaceful reconciliation with the Israeli people. Yeah, 100%.
Because they have always been more interested in destroying the Jewish state.
Mm-hmm.
Finally,
I mean, the Jewish state literally invaded their homeland and killed their people and displaced their people and keeps them in concentration camps. So, yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty okay. Hey, guys, I'm an American. Maybe this is my fiery patriotic experiment brewing, but if, China invaded America and then set up a gigantic fucking ethno-state of Chinese people in America and then booted all the Americans off to Rhode Island, I would also feel not great about this new China 2. As shitty as Israel is, I don't really think you should be talking about Hamas in such a positive light. All I'm saying is that Hamas has reason to hate Israel and that Hamas supports a Palestinian state. I don't think that's talking about them in an unfairly positive light. Hamas are a terrorist group, but they're a fair terrorist group. They exist because of Israel's horrific crimes.
the anti-Zionists claim that Israel's origins are illegitimate. Of all the world's 200-plus countries, the only country anti-Zionists declare illegitimate is also the only Jewish one.
Once again, I don't know where this is coming at from. I'm a leftist. I don't like any states, but okay.
That's pretty much all you need to know about their motives.
There you go. See, exactly. Remember earlier what I said? Dennis Prager does the race bait shit, where he says, he tries to imagine the hypocrisy. Why do these people only dislike Israel? And then he tosses out and fails to consider all of the other potential explanations, like the fact that Israel is fucking horrible, and the fact that Israel just recently colonialized an area and is currently engaging in apartheid with them, and then rests on the only... It's the exact same thing that Candace Owens did as well. Here. Do we have the video on this? Oh my fucking god, I hate news sites so goddamn much. Holy shit. I know that print is dying, but still.
Is ranks nowhere near the top of the issues that are facing Black America. And the reason that you are bringing them up in this room is because it is attempt to make the election all about race as the Democrats.
Not in my case, Ms. Owens. I'm sorry. Please do not characterize my motive.
Mr. Chairman, it's my time.
Yeah,
it's my time.
You've got your time, Mr. Menez. I'll give you 3 more seconds.
Every 4 years, you bring up race, and you knew exactly what I meant when I said hilarious, and you just tried to do live what the media does all the time to Republicans, to our president, and to conservatives, which you tried to manipulate what I said to fit your narrative, okay? I was not referring to which I'm wrong.
Where's that segment where Candace Owens has that segment where she said Hitler did nothing wrong or whatever? And then the guy played it out loud, and her first response was, "You must hate black people," or something along those lines? It's that same victim baity race mentality that conservatives engage in all the fucking time.
Why, for example, don't they make this claim about Pakistan? In 1947, 9 months before the establishment of Israel, India was partitioned into a Muslim state, Pakistan, and a Hindu state, India.
Because, oh God, for so many reasons. A, because it was splitting off from an existing state rather than a foreign nation invading them and colonializing their settlement. For B, Hindus were an oppressed minority within, Muslims were an oppressed minority within India, and for that reason there were already calls, long-standing calls, for those people who were indigenous to that nation to have their own separate legal, jurisdiction. The context is completely different here.
Unlike Israel, Pakistan had never existed before.
I don't care about nations precedent to exist.
Unlike Israel's founding, which created about 700,000 Jewish refugees from Arab lands and about 700,000 Arab refugees from what became Israel.
They're not refugees. You can't call them Jewish refugees when you just invaded and set up your own territory and they came to you. They're not refugees, you brought them there. And you don't get to displace new people to make your new people there. Wait, that'd be like, oh yeah, what? You slaughtered the entire fucking state of Texas to move in your nation? Oh yeah, well we displaced about 25 million people, but we brought in about 25 million people too. Really, it's morally neutral.
Refugees from what became Israel, the founding of Pakistan created about 7 million Muslim refugees from...
Yes, a persecuted minority escaping to the state that they had claimed they'd wanted for a very long time.
India, and about 7 million Hindu refugees from Pakistan.
And the context here is so different. Oh, I know that the division of India was done in a terrible, terrible way, but nobody calls for the abolition of Pakistan or India for very different reasons than the people who claim for the abolition of Israel or to be anti-Zionist. The Pakistan-India divide is so fucking complicated, and there's so much more precedent. Long-standing ethnic groups indigenous to that area calling out for representation, British involvement completely fucking with the borders and the way in which the situation was resolved. Israel was uncritically foreigners coming in, invading and displacing hundreds of thousands to create a new state where they were not previously. There is no comparison.
And while the highest estimate of Arab deaths in the fighting that took place when Israel was established is 10,000, the number of deaths as a result of Pakistan's creation is around 1 million.
These are irrelevant. Even if these numbers were true, and all these numbers are probably untrue, this is literally irrelevant.
So why is Israel's legitimacy challenged while Pakistan's isn't?
See, look at this whataboutism. There are people who challenge Pakistan's legitimacy. I'm aware of this, but...
There's only one answer.
Yeah.
Israel is the one Jewish state. Of course, not all anti-Zionists hate all Jews. But if you seek to destroy Italy, you don't have to hate every Italian to be anti-Italian. If you seek to destroy the one Jewish state, you don't have to hate every Jew to be an anti-Semite.
See, look at that nice equivocacy there.
Italian to be anti-Italian.
You can be anti-Italian state without hating the Italian people. So the equivalent argument here would be, if you seek to destroy Israel, you don't have to hate every Jew to be anti-Israeli.
To be an anti-Semite.
But he puts in anti-Semite instead. No arguments here. Truly, the neocon cucklord coming in with his throbbing 3.5-incher to destroy America and Israel. Because, and I guess the Jewish people as well. Because Dennis Prager doesn't give a fuck about Jews. Zionists don't give a shit about Jews. Because this, Netanyahu, the prime minister for Israel, recently indicted, by the way, huge bribery scandal, is a Holocaust revisionist. Did you know that? Prime Minister of Israel is a Holocaust revisionist. He's actually argued yeah, you guys know this. He's actually argued, in addition to all of his genocidal talk and what have you, he said that it wasn't Hitler's idea to engage in the final solution, or the Germans or whatever. It was actually the sneaky, pernicious Arab allies he had who convinced him to destroy the nefarious Jew. That way, Netanyahu can transfer the cultural hatred of the Holocaust from Germany, which is now fine, to the Arab world, which is what Israel is currently opposed to, broadly speaking. It's a way of misdirecting the antagonism of the atrocity historically. Yeah, he's attempted to spread the revisionism as well. He's a truly disgusting human being, Netanyahu, and an anti-Semite. There's nothing more anti-Semitic than Holocaust revisionism for political clout. That's pretty fucking up there. And to cap it all off, this video has been hardcore brigaded by Nazis. Hey, how many of these Nazis, we can go over some of these, how many of these Nazis do you think regularly watch and enjoy PragerU videos, but just got mad because this one is pro-Zionist? Imagine sending billions of dollars subsidizing Italy's tomato farms. To find who rules over you, Google Jared Kushner from Socrates. Oops, we blew up your ship. That's the USS Liberty. Oops, we stole state secrets. Oops, we did it again and again. Oops, we stole your missiles. Oops, broke our... See, yeah, it's the Nazi stuff. Remember when the US didn't have to deal with Jews or with Jewish agendas at all? But sir, it's an American ship. Never mind Hitler. Prager, your doublespeak is falling on deaf ears. That's true, at least. The redacted cries out in pain as he strikes you. I'll say the same thing about Israel as I do Pakistan, and that is America first. To find out who rules over you, buy Mel Gibson a drink. You basically get the gist of this. It's all Nazis. But the question is, how many of these Nazis are brigaders, and how many of them do you think enjoy PragerU's videos normally when they're doing stuff like making fun of liberals or trans people or saying that gay people are stupid or whatever, or when they're saying the importance of the military? That's the question. How many of them are brigaders, and how many of them are usually fans of PragerU? I have no fucking idea. Check other PragerU video ratios. Oh, they're usually like 95% positive. Do we have unironic anti-Semites in chat right now? Are you guys beefing with me right now? Do we got any for real anti-Semites in here? You know, I'm an anti-Zionist because I'm pro-Semitic. There is no greater threat to the Jewish people, broadly speaking, than them being exploited and used by these plutocrats who will use the claims of anti-Semitism to further their business interests, which is exactly what people with Ben Shapiro, Dennis Prager do. It's all just fascist power games to them, but they don't care about the Jews. Why do you think Israel is discriminatory towards its non-white Jews? Why do you think they face discrimination the darker their skin is? They're obviously not looking for Jews. They're looking to recreate the same old power hierarchies that they used to be on the bottom of. There was someone talking about the USS Liberty. Oh, okay. Get the fuck out of here. You people are unironically disgusting to me. You realize that every hierarchy that exists in Israel is multiplied 1,000-fold by hegemonic white Protestants here in America, right? For all I complain about Israel and its blatant hypocrisies and its overt fascism, you and the people you stand for are 1,000 times worse. Based, criticizing Israel. Why is he criticizing Israel? Because it's racist and exclusionary and itself anti-Semitic and fascist, and because it treats people who are non-white worse, and because it doesn't fairly discriminate housing and legal rights? Oh, well, I didn't like them because there were Jews there. Oh, God. Got your cola dicked. Well, yeah, quick talk about bombing Israel again. Oh, I'm glad you liked it, Sergeant Dr. Peppers. All right, hold on, folks. That video was painful. I don't like the PragerU videos very much, I have to see. Have you heard of the regressive left? I've heard rumors of the regressive left. All right, I know what we have up next. Can you react to PragerU talking about why the Arab world is dying? Spoilers, it's because of their anti-Semitism? No, it's so... I'm not educated enough on history. It's so fucking boring, dude. It's so fucking boring. It's the same. Anytime anything bad happens to the people they don't like, it's because they're not doing the things they want them to do. And anytime something bad happens to the people they do like, it's because the world is rotting. Yeah, Prager is definitely one of those fucking cult conspiracy theorists, like Protestant, end of the world Zionist types. God, I want to leave this shithole of a country more and more as time goes on. Sabular Temi, are you in Israel? There was a Saudi Arabian student in my poli-sci class who repeated the Liberty talking point. That's nice. That's good to know. Let me catch up with donations, and then I think we need to... I know what we're going to go over. Nowadays, millennial, all they know how to do is to make hot chip advert and lie. Oh, don't worry, creator phase. Why shouldn't I use the Liberty talking point as a lefty? Because states do shit against states all the time. And why the fuck would you want to criticize Israel? Because it turned tail on America militarily. Why? What? I'm going to criticize other nations for being anti-America? Why the fuck would I do that? I don't give a fuck about America. And I don't give a fuck if our weird military appendages occasionally clash against one another for whatever reason they may do so. If you're a lefty, your criticisms of Israel should be because they're violations of human rights, not because they fucking bombed a US ship maybe one time. That's such a weird thing for a lefty to make a point about. I'm doing all right, another Ancom. How is the Liberty talking point fascist? I never said the Liberty talking point is fascist. But it's a talking point that is frequently used by fascists, so you might get mistaken for one of them. All right, anyway. Cham shit only with the $5 donating because I don't need to eat. Don't do that to my heart, comrade. And Veritable Chris with the $5. Interesting note. Unable to donate her a sub. Enjoy the money, though. That might be because she already has a sub, or maybe because she's a website admin. I do enjoy the money, thank you, and I hope you enjoy your yellow name. That's very, very kind of you. Thank you, comrade. And Asimeta93 with the tier 2 sub. Thank you. I'm only subbing because you called Republicans degenerates. I try my best, comrade. And they really, truly are. And they're also all pedophiles. All conservatives are. Especially Nazis. Transhumanist Liberation with the $2. I am a former MGTOW, and thanks to you, Vosh, you were helpful in pulling me out. Also, I would like to chat with you. I can't promise I'll be able to chat anytime in the near future because I've already got a lot of obligations lined out of the way, but if you send me an email, we might be able to get to it. Thank you, comrade. I'm delighted to hear you're in a better place, in my personal opinion. Arthur with the tier 1 sub. Don't the lesbians have the non-binary attraction thing kind of sorted out? A binary lesbian woman liking a non-binary person doesn't make her not a lesbian, plus there's non-binary lesbians. Yes, at the end of the day, whatever consistency you might find is an illusion. At the end of the day, the answer is this. Words are malleable, and these identities, definitions change depending on who you're asking, and there is no consistency whatsoever. I just like using words that resonate with the largest group of people possible because that's what I have to do. I have to appeal to people. Paul Resendez with the incredibly generous $20. Thank you so much, comrade. So does this J.K. Rowling incident mean that Harry Potter is pure ideology? Sniff. It always was, comrade. Harry Potter is literally a story about a xenophobic, isolated wizard aristocracy, the protagonist of which has the ultimate dream of becoming one of the fucking magic policemen. What do they call them? The little detective dudes? You know what I'm talking about? What do they call them? Aurors. Sorry, the Aurors. Yes, that's his ultimate goal. He wants to become a cop. And the great evil they're facing down, Voldemort, isn't somebody that needs to be defeated with institutional change. He's just a single big baddie that's bad because he's bad and needs to be defeated by being gooder. And he's defeated by the purity of the heart of the protagonist. Yes, pure ideology. Thank you, comrade, for the very generous donation. Soy Girl with the tier 1 sub, thank you. And Crack Rock Steady with the $5. Can you make a response to the channel John Stossel? I've heard of them before. I'll have to give them a look, though. And Cami Gurin with the $25. Hey Vosh, not sure if you know or give a shit, but there's a Kiwi Farms thread up and you talking shit right now, Lamau. Oh yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Thank you for the donation, comrade. I really appreciate it. They will continue giving me attention, I imagine, for as long as I exist. Not a big one. Veritable Chris with the gifted tier 1 sub, thank you, and Log the Dog with the $1. I notice people criticizing you for memeing JLP because his views are so dangerous. I think this is the wrong approach for the left, and reactionaries should be relentlessly memed because they will never do it to the left. As well, their viewers suck. No, JLP? Yeah. JLP is not himself dangerous. People who are dangerous will radicalize people to a place where they will then appreciate JLP. But JLP on his own, I don't think has a tremendous staying power with convincing people to become far right or anything like that. And I think memeing can be a good way of showing levity that gets people on board with the way in which you approach politics. Arjun with the $5. My dad's friend converted to Judaism when she got married, and when her and her husband went to Israel, she was spat on because she was Indian, and they thought she was Muslim or Arab. Nice! That's super fucking sick. Yes, JLP does hate black people, though. Glad to hear it. Another Ancom with a tier 1 sub. Thank you. Do it?
Just kidding. My new catchphrase is, I don't give a f.
I can't believe you just linked me a fucking Rick and Morty video. I can't believe you just did that to me. Why would you do that to me? Absolutely not. Arjun with the $5. This debate is worth watching just to listen to Ilan Pop. Debate anti-Zionism versus anti-Semitism. Sure, I'll give it a listen. Yeah, JLP is not himself a very persuasive person at all. I mean, think about it. Do you really think that anyone could watch JLP and have their mind changed on a position unless they were already in his camp? I find it very, very, very doubtful. Maybe he also markets himself as this self-help guru, so that might be an avenue through which he's able to do so. But otherwise, I genuinely don't know. Log the Dog for the $1. How wild is it that the right for years has said the left calling them Nazis was a straw man, but then defend and platform people who get Pioneer Fund money? Also, I've been missing streams lately because I'm on that wage slavery grind, but great work. Hey, happy to have you back, however briefly, comrade. Yeah, it's almost like Nazis lie. Paul Resendes with the incredibly generous $50. Thank you so much, dude. You are fucking it up with me today. My current Rhode Island congressman is David Sicilian, and he is Jewish and a big Israel supporter, his voting record shows. Should I steer away from my anti-Israel stance and focus primarily on SOCDEM points? Yeah, probably. If he has a really big constituency base that is pro-Zionist, you probably don't want to fight him on that because that usually makes people look bad. The arguments for being pro-Israel are really easy to defend publicly, and the arguments for being anti-Israel are very difficult to defend publicly in this political climate. You would probably want to be quiet on the Israel thing. Not hide your true views or anything, just don't make that the focus of your platform, in my opinion. Thank you so much for the incredibly generous dono, comrade. I really appreciate it. Marcus Sarin with the 59 kronar, thank you. The comment section of that Empire Files video is extremely anti-Semitic though, just thought everyone should know. Yep, because unfortunately, from the left, anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism, but from the right, it is. When the right is anti-Zionist, it is because they hate Jews. And when we're anti-Zionist, it's because we hate hierarchy and abuse and apartheid. So, such is life, right? It is pretty unfortunate, though. Don't be anti-Semitic, guys. Do you think Lily Orchard is a pedophile? She made some weird shit a while ago. Mature rated fiction. Holy shit. 185,000 words? Estimated time to read 12 hours and 21 minutes? While having to deal with Rainbow's sexual kink for teenagers, she also finds herself being the rock for Twilight's abusive marriage. Damn. That's some commitment to themes right there. 21st Century Socialist with the $25. Thank you very much, comrade. I recently read a liberal op-ed that thought far right and far left were the same because one's anti-Semitic and the other's anti-Zionist. I was just like, fucking libs. Sometimes I think like maybe we should just never talk about Israel, honestly. That it's just too much of a hot topic right now, and the conservative ink types have too much of a monopoly over discourse concerning Israel that there's no way to even discuss it without getting branded an anti-Semite. Look what happened to fucking Corbyn, dude. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I wouldn't have to stop talking about it because I have an edgy internet platform that I can say whatever I want. But in terms of broader political advocacy, it seems like anti-Israel, like Israel is just such a small part of the world. It really doesn't seem like it should be that big of an issue. Yeah, Corbyn was an orchestrated attack, true. Yeah, look what happened to me on Twitch. They got me. Thank you, 21st Century Socialist. I really appreciate the donation. That's incredibly kind of you. Talcat with the $1. Can you clarify the Hamas is a fair terrorist group statement? That's definitely going to get clipped and shipped. Dude, everything the Hamas does, Israel does 1,000 times worse. If your fucking people were overtaken and destroyed and genocided and apartheided and concentration camped, you would also probably be in favor of terrorist groups that were in favor of retributive violence. I don't think Hamas is good. I think they were an inevitable byproduct of the material circumstances that were brought about by Israel's invasion to begin with. So yeah, I don't think they're good. I wouldn't like sit down with them and like say they're doing good things. I would just say that I would just like they're just not the broader issue here, you know? That's like it'd be like entering a household where you have an abusive dad who like beats the shit out of the children and like rapes his daughter, and then like because he's lashing out, his 12-year-old son occasionally like cries and like hits people or whatever. Like if I went into that household and I started tackling the fucking kid, I feel like I'd be missing probably the broader moral wrong that's going on there, you know? Do you denounce their actions though? What does it mean to denounce their actions? Some of the things they've done have been fine. A lot of the things they do are pretty terroristy. Is it wrong to be a terrorist group if you're trying to find liberation for your like oppressed and ostracized people? I would need specific actions to avow or disavow. And Hello with the tier 1 sub, thank you. Totally unrelated, but so many intelligent young people I meet turn out to be anti-SJWs of some kind. It makes me fear that our generation is going to turn out more transphobic than the previous ones. Love you, Daddy. Love you too. Don't worry about the transphobic thing. It seems like our generation is due to be quite a bit less transphobic than previous generations. $4444477 with the €2. The Arabs are the Afro-Americans of Israel? I'll keep that in mind. I was actually going to do this video, but I don't think I'm going to anymore because I'm really fucking hungry. Yeah, I've come to the executive decision. Fuck you guys. All right. I love you all very much. You're all beautiful. We'll do this video tomorrow, okay? I got fucking stuff to do, by which I mean eating. Why not eat and stream? I hate eating and streaming. I love you guys very much, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Oh yeah, re it up. Ah yeah, get mad. Get mad. I'll see you all tomorrow.